Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds of oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. Compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is time once again for another edition of the Ignition Zone pre-race show presented by the Collegiate iRacing League. We're coming to you live tonight from the sunny, virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway for what will be the site of Race 9 of this Garage Shop College Cup Series season. I think it's going to be a fun one here tonight. After a series of the bigger tracks, we go back to a staple. Here are these next-gen cars, the mile-and-a-halfs. The old cookie-cutter ovals seem to do really well with the Gen 7, and we are going to put it to the test here tonight. We had a great race when we were here last season in Vegas, looking for more of the same tonight. Want to welcome everybody in. I am Alex Gagnon. Alongside me tonight, our analyst Brad Daniels, who is back after his brief hiatus because, boy, is tax season a pain or what?
Oh, yeah. You can say that again, Alex.
Also joining us here tonight is producer Christian Hill back in the booth. You know, if you were to try to look at the camera right here, folks, and see, all right, here's me, and, you know, you got Brad over here. Producer Christian is right here. You can't see him, but he's like right there. So he's up here with us tonight. giving you all the camera shots you know and love, all the fun graphics as well. While Brad and I are just going to be here to yap a little bit about the racing action that's unfolding. That being said, chances are you've probably already caught one of these so far this season, so we're not particularly new faces up here, but if you are, that's who we are up here in the booth. But yeah, you know, Brad, after a week away, how are you feeling? Welcome back to the old Garage Shop College Cup Series booth.
Thanks, Alex. And seems like I missed a pretty good race last week. I mean, much like Pocono, Indy had a lot of green flag runs, but also a lot of good storylines along with it. So it seemed like I missed a good time, and I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun one last week, and you know, we'll pull that schedule up on screen here if you want to talk about it a little bit. Indy, obviously, a little chaotic up front. Took some drivers by surprise trying to get settled in and comfortable with the race at hand. But once we got to about lap 25 or so, we really had a nice, healthy green flag run throughout the rest of the race. Daniel Nanny picking up win number 5 on the season. He's having a phenomenal year. Ties the Garage Shop College Cup Series record for most wins in a season. He'll be looking to try to become the sole record holder of that should he pick up one more win over the last 5 or 6 races here. And Brad, I mean, you look at this last little bit of the schedule, this is a truly ideal finish for the most part for really old school oval racing purists, with the exception of that race on April 7th.
Yeah, and I really think, you know, anyone that is in any type of FC racing, any kind of racing fan will really enjoy this back half of the schedule, and especially starting here in Vegas today. I think we got a wide variety, like you said, coming up, and especially with like Chicago Street Course, a track that's going to be a wild card for everyone here, and then immediately going to Bristol right after that. It's just basically the two ends of the spectrum when it comes to racing anywhere in the world. So, you know, looking up here at the CIL, I think we've got a lot going on, but I think here tonight at Vegas, we're going to have a lot of drivers that the CIL has loved to come back to time and time again.
If there's one track that the CIL loves more than Vegas, it is for sure Auto Club. But yeah, so that's kind of the schedule that we've gotten to this point. And for anyone who didn't get to catch it last week, a lot of fun action throughout the field at Indianapolis. We saw a fantastic battle between Wyatt Burton and Jason Wallet there in the closing laps. Jared Kaler and Clint Halterman, UNC Charlotte teammates, going to war in the closing moments. And of course, Nanny picking up win number 5 on the year. He's been absolutely fantastic so far this season, and he'll look to continue that here tonight. And just, I think that takes us, honestly, to our pre-race interview of the day. So we're going to see if we can have a word with the winner here from last year. It is Brandon Schulenberger from Wingate. Hey there, Brandon. This is Alex and Brad up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, how we doing?
Doing all right. Well, looking to, if my memory serves me correctly, defend your race win from a season ago. How are you feeling getting ready for tonight's run here at Vegas?
Yeah, I feel fairly confident. I was reviewing a little bit of tire data with Clint, and right now I think I'm struggling to save the tires a bit, but I think this is going to be a very tricky track because draft is very useful, but the first 10 to 15 laps you can go full out, but dirty air really takes away a lot of that. So I don't know, I think there's a bunch of different pieces to, you know, staying with the front group, staying fast, but also keeping the tires on at the same time, because it looks like about lap 20 is when they really start to fall off. So I don't know, it's gonna be a little different. Obviously last season we had a night race with it being the championship and all, and this one's a day race, but the track temp is still cool as well. So I don't know, I think it's gonna be good. I think we're in for a lot of fun, but I think we're just gonna have to wait to see how it goes when everybody's on the track.
Yeah, and for those watching at home who may not be overly familiar, you were talking a little bit about the fact that, this year, not a night race like it was last year. What is the biggest difference for someone who may not be behind the wheel of the sim rigs as often as you are? What the difference that people should be expecting to see tonight between a night race like last year and running out in the broad daylight today?
Yeah, so usually the biggest difference is when you've got a night race, the sun isn't beaming on the track, and usually that typically means the track temp is cooler, which means the car is a lot more likely to be on the tighter side than the looser side. But this, for some reason today, is almost a bit of a different scenario, because right now the track temp's only 83, which is definitely on the cooler side compared to a lot of the races we've done this season. So this race right now kind of has an asterisk beside its name based on how I'm describing it, but usually the track means cooler, usually means the car is tighter, which would typically mean you're working on trying to save the right front more compared to the right rear when it's on a looser, hotter track.
And I mean, I think that's honestly a really good way to sum it up, because tire wear, we saw tire wear become a thing pretty prevalently yesterday in the NASCAR Cup Series, but that was less of tire wear and more of tire attachment. That was really the big issue over there this weekend. So hopefully you got all the lug nuts on here pretty tight, getting ready for this one.
Yeah.
We've kind of seen you throughout the field this year. Sometimes you've been battling up at the front, sometimes stuck a little bit more toward the middle of the pack. Where do you kind of categorize how this season has gone to this point, and what needs to happen for you to kind of get up consistently into the front? Because you've had some runs like that this year, but there's also been a couple I'm sure you'd love another crack at if you had the opportunity.
Yeah, I was really hoping to carry a lot of momentum going into this season, and the start of the season actually started pretty rough for me. I had I don't remember, one of the first races I ran well all day, and then we got some late damage on pit road and it kind of ruined it. And usually I've also missed 2 races this season, which really hurts in the points, which is something I normally wouldn't, just of things I couldn't control. But so far, of course, I was gone last week for spring break, but other than last week missing Indy, I had 4 top 10s in a row, so I think we're starting to click in the right direction. I've just really seen with the races, when us getting rid of stages and a lot of it really comes down to just making it to the end to give yourself a chance. And I think you really saw that at Pocono. It went green for a while. We've had a lot of green flags run this season, which has been absolutely awesome. I have enjoyed so much of it, but sometimes we get late cautions and it just jumbles everybody up, and you really just, not more of a survival, but you just need to be aware of who you have around you and how cautious you need to be just based off who you're racing and just trying to get to the checkered flag.
All right, well, I'm going to hold on to one more question here. I thought Brad had one. What I'm thinking here, Brandon, obviously we've got a couple minutes here before qualifying really has to get going, so I'm gonna give you a series of questions that may or may not be racing related, but we'll start with this. They just dropped the brackets for March Madness. Who do you got in yours if you're following college basketball at all?
Yeah, so this has been an interesting year. Usually you have a favorite, but I mean, I feel like this year's been very diverse. I am actually a Tar Heel fan, so I'm just glad we're in the bracket somehow. I know there's a bunch of controversy behind it, but I think at this moment, my champion is going to be the Florida Gators. I think at the beginning of the season, I would have said Alabama, but I don't like how inefficient they are on defense and their reliability on their three-pointers.
Well, I tell you what, who's going to be able to exploit that weakness? It is the number 15 seed, Robert Morris University, baby. My alma mater, Brad's alma mater. We are going to go shock the world on Friday.
I'd love it.
Taking down Bama.
That'd be awesome.
Almost certainly not going to happen, but if it does, I will not shut up about it for the rest of the time.
You never know. You never know.
All right, we'll see if we got Brad here. Brad, you got a copy?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right, there we go.
My technical difficulties are finally straightening out. But Brandon, one last question here before we let you go. Are you more of a pancakes or waffle type of guy?
Wow, what a question, man. I would have to say more of a pancake guy, but don't ever sleep on that once in a while waffle. It can be very good, but more of a pancake for sure.
Alrighty. Well, Brandon, thank you for joining us on this roller coaster of a preview show. It's been a fun time having you up here with us. Anyone you'd like to shout out here before you get ready for qualifying?
Yeah, shout out to the girlfriend. Shout out to my parents who usually watch. Shout out to Wingate University and y'all for making this happen. Hopefully, I can talk to you when the race is over. Hopefully.
That would be a ton of fun if that's the case. And there's been a fairly good streak of that happening this year. So the odds, I would say, are fairly in your favor. But of course, you got to go out there and execute. But we are going to have a grand old time, I'm sure, watching you from up here. Best of luck this evening.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it, Joe.
All right. And that is Brandon Schulenberger, driver of the number 7 machine for Wingate University, who's getting ready to try to defend his Vegas win from a year ago. And Brad, I think we learned a lot in that interview, not only about Brandon, but about ourselves and our own equipment, because there was multiple points where both of our computers were struggling during that. And we got to learn quite a bit about the human side of what makes Brandon Schulenberger Brandon Schulenberger. Well, I tell you what. I can already feel the energy in the room here, folks. I have a feeling it's going to be a wacky one here tonight, and unfortunately, y'all are just going to have to deal with that. We're just going to have a grand old time this evening. Can't wait for y'all to join us here tonight for the race at Vegas. It's going to be kicking off in just a few minutes. We're going to take a quick commercial break, though. In between then, I'm going to get some water and see if I retain any sense of professionalism or if we're just going fully off the rails here tonight. And when we come back, it will be live coverage of tonight's event from Las Vegas. It's going to be a fun one. The Esports In-State Tuition 200 presented by TAMUT Esports. Big thank you to Texas A&M Texarkana for once again sponsoring tonight's event. And we will be right back with some mile-and-a-half action. You won't want to miss it. They say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, we will certainly see if the action that takes place on track here tonight stays here or continues on through the rest of this back half of the season. It's been a fun year to this point, and this car and this track combination are always something special when you get these Gen 7s onto a nice 1.5 miles. Coming to you live from the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway, it is the Garage Shop College Cup Series presented by the Collegiate iRacing League. Tonight, you're ready to do battle in the Esports In-State Tuition 200, presented by Texas A&M Texarkana Esports. Big shout out to them for putting this race on here tonight. For anyone who missed it in the beginning, I'm Alex Gagnon. Alongside me tonight, Brad Daniels in the booth, Christian Hill producing behind the scenes. And it's been a fun time so far through the opening 20 minutes or so of tonight's show. We've already gotten a little off the rails, and if it's up to the drivers, we might see a little bit more of that tonight, Brad, as this one goes on.
Yeah, and we'll see how my technology works here. It should be better here as we go through the race.
Well, you're going to certainly hope so, and we're also going to certainly hope I find any modicum of composure and don't laugh my way through the next 2 hours of broadcasting. But I'm off to a bad start, so we will see how that ends up. But, Bram, coming to a place like Vegas, you got to imagine the drivers are really excited. I mean, this is the first 1.5 miles we've been on since, what, Homestead, maybe? About a month ago?
Yeah. And, I mean, these guys definitely, by the way, my technology trouble should be gone now. But anyways, yeah, Las Vegas is always a track that's always, great for watching the product that it provides, especially for the CIL, I think. I think we can see a lot of lines being run here, a lot of great battles from the inside, outside, lanes, and making it 3 wide here is, not rare compared to some other tracks we head to here throughout the season. So I think, Vegas is going to provide a very great product, and a lot, honestly, could offer up some more craziness than we've seen in the past couple of races.
I honestly could agree with you. I mean, a little bit less room to operate out there today versus an Indianapolis or a Pocono where you can really stretch things out. As we jump on board the old Google Earth Cam, show you what Las Vegas Motor Speedway looks like. It's a phenomenal facility. It's also kind of hilarious. It is on the same road that eventually turns into the Strip in Vegas, but it's about 15-20 minutes outside of town, and it looks like a complete desert where this place is compared to the bright lights of Vegas. But it's just a short jaunt down the street, but it is a ton of fun nonetheless. And I suppose I will ask now. Yeah, there we go. There's the old track map. Brad, talk to us a little bit about, well, I don't think Vegas has 11 turns now that I'm taking a closer look at it. So we might have a couple of slight discrepancies. 4 turns here tonight, folks. But I think this is just really leaning into the hilarity that has been the opening few minutes here. We're basically one step away from putting on a variety show up here.
Yeah, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So if this is going to happen, it's a good thing it's happening here. So, I mean, outside, the track here, we kind of talked about it already, but we've seen it since 2022 in Season 4 in the CIL. And, I mean, it is a great track to watch on paper and in, reality. And, it's been around for a long time in NASCAR. It's been around a long time in the CIL. And you can see that it even has some configurations from this top-down view. So it offers a lot of different, types of racing here in Las Vegas. And I think, especially this time of year, it's going to be a little hotter than most places, especially, comparative to a lot of the northern-bound tracks. And, we're going to see a lot of tires getting eaten up here tonight.
Yeah, we certainly will, and especially if we have some green flag racing like we've seen a lot over the past 1.5 months or so, I have a feeling we will really see that tire fall off probably close to 1.5 seconds, maybe even 2 seconds, depending on how well you've saved your stuff in the opening few laps. Over the course of a run here, if this goes to a full fuel window. But we want to give a quick second here to shout out the folks who make this series possible each and every week, starting with our friends at the Garage Shop, the race car fabrication company building some of the most unique cars, trucks, and off-road vehicles around. Their motto of honoring the racers who came before us and putting our competitors behind us resonates with all here in the CIL. You can check them out at thegarageshop200.com. And big shout out to the Garage Shop for being our season-long series partner. ECAC Esports, adding value to its member schools by enhancing the competitive experience for hundreds of students seeking to participate in intercollegiate esports. The Makoni Setup Shop, the home for setups, paint schemes, coaching, and more, the official setup shop of eNASCAR and the Garage Shop College Cup Series. You can visit MakoniSetupShop.com today to subscribe. Whiplash SimCams, an iRacing and Esports media group specializing in racing and team graphics, iRacing camera packs, and other broadcasting resources. And tonight's sponsor of this race here in Vegas, Texas A&M Texarkana Esports. At TAMUT, we're not building a competitive esports program, we're creating real opportunities for student athletes. We're not just building a competitive esports program. Apologies. Through university athletics, all TAMUT esports athletes receive in-state tuition, whether they're from out-of-state or even international students, plus all transfer students who meet the eligibility requirements, including a 3.5 GPA, can qualify for a $6,000 transfer presidential scholarship, making higher education more affordable while competing still at the highest levels. And a big thank you to TAMUT Esports for sponsoring tonight's event and being a very prevalent partner here in the Garage Shop College Cup Series. They've put on a couple of races this season, and I have a feeling we'll see them a couple more times before this one is said and done, so a big thank you to them. All right, let's see if we can take a look here at what a qualifying lap looks like here in Las Vegas. We're going to have an opportunity to ride along with the 7 of Brandon Schulenberger from Wingate University as he goes out for his laps. He was the gentleman we talked to in the pre-show, and you can see, boy, he is getting right up to that wall, Brad, to try to generate speed off the floor.
Yeah, and I think pretty much every track you go to outside of really the last two, you try to use this high of a line to get as much momentum for the first couple of laps, obviously for qualifying. You can see here just the absolute differing of lines, complete opposite sides of the track as Brandon's using that bottom line right down near the apron. And really that mid to low line is where you're going to see probably a lot of our front runners, especially as the race goes on. They'll start inching their way up the track little by little, but once you get to that higher side, obviously you get more momentum off the corners, but on the inside line, you're going to get less distance around the track. It's going to be easier to make some passes, but you're going to get a little loose coming out of the corners here, Alex.
Yeah, it's always so tough knowing when you can get back onto the throttle, especially when there's so much throttle control here at Vegas. You don't have to worry about the brakes a ton, but it is super dependent on your angle of entry and exit and how you get back onto the throttle that will dictate your tire wear here today. And a pretty good lap there for the 7 of Brandon Schulenberger. I think puts him top 10 here on the grid. But I think now, with qualifying concluded, there is no better time than to bring you tonight's starting grid. Should be a fun one here. The Esports In-State Tuition 200. And on pole, big shocker up front, it is Daniel Nanny from Ball State University. Looking for win number 6. He's going for the record here tonight to try to become the driver with the most wins in a single season. He's tied the record with 5. He's looking for his 6th here this evening. He's got Reese Bayham from Auburn University to his outside on the front row. Row 2 tonight will be Clemson's Drew Williams and St. Clair College's Zach DeWale. Logan Smith for Auburn rolls off in 5th. Baruch College's Edward Sanchez looking to rebound this week. He'll roll off 6th. Jake Cummings from Converse pulls off in P7 here, just next to Jared Kaler from UNC Charlotte in P8. And in row number 5, it'll be Brandon Schulenberger from Wingate University and the 124 of Nick Stockner from Clemson.
In row 6, we have Clint Haltman from UNC Charlotte, and to his outside, Kelton Quick from Ball State University. In row 7, Jason Wallet from Drexel starts in 13th, and Nick Henley from Ball State starts 14th. And in 15th, we have Nolan Starkey from Trine University. And to his outside, Trey Lambrick from Texas A&M University. Armaham Ali from Ball State University starts 17th, and in 18th, Keegan Cowlick from St. Clair College. And rounding out your top 20, Lucas Moody from Ball State University, and to his outside, Michael James from Drexel.
21st tonight will be Andrew McManus from the University of Toledo. His outside will be the 79 of Ben Neller from Ball State. Rolling off 23rd, it'll be Kettering University's Connor Zabosian. Cade Corbin from the University of Alabama Huntsville rolls off 24th. Carter Capini rolls off in 25th here, the Paul Smith's College Machine, alongside FIU's Esteban Munoz in the 009. Andrew Burrell rolls off 27th here today for Clemson University. Riley Perkins from New England College will roll off in 28th. And row 15 will be Matthew Nordberg from NC State, the Wolfpack, and Grant Schiller from St. Clair College rolls off 30th.
And in row 16, we have the 57 of Nathaniel Crone from the University of Toledo. To his outside, Jack Wilson from the University of North Georgia. In row 17, we have Robbie Hotchkiss from New England College, and to his outside, Caleb Winslow from East Carolina University. And in 35th, we have Roger Primo from Paul Smith College. To his outside, Ethan Decatur from Valparaiso. And in 37th, we have Zach Tallman from the Penn College of Technology. To his outside, Alex Hallinar from Binghamton.
And rounding out our field tonight, it's producer Christian Hill. He's not actually running tonight, folks.
I love the helmet.
Although I like the crash test. Yeah. Producer Christian realizing in real time he accidentally registered for the session as opposed to spectating. He is in utter dismay up here in the booth. Apparently it's the first time he's done that in several years. The entire lead into the pre-show, folks, while Brad and I were getting ready, going through some of the stuff to keep an eye on tonight and talking a bit about Vegas, producer Christian was insisting that he had forgotten something. Couldn't really remember what it was, and Brad and I were both like, I'm sure it's fine. You probably got everything. Apparently the big thing was making sure he hit spectate as opposed to the register. But still going to be able to bring you all the camera shots you love and know. Have no doubt about that. But Brad, I think the biggest thing worth mentioning here, 133 lap race tonight. Daniel Nanny going for an opportunity to put himself into the CIL history books in a big way here tonight.
Yeah, we definitely know Daniel Nanny can, win. Obviously this season he has been a powerhouse to deal with, and obviously with 6 races left, he's gonna have ample time to do it. But just to say, all he has to do is win one more race is kind of still a big milestone to hit at times. So you can see here at the bottom left of your screen, we've had a lot of different winners here in Vegas, so it's not that easy to really win here. As you can see, we have anyone from Jared Kaler back in 2022, and then up through the last winner here of Brandon Schoenberger. We've had a lot of great drivers win here in Vegas, and Daniel Nanny, I think, is itching at the waiting for his opportunity to add himself to this list.
Yeah, no, he absolutely would love to, and this would be a very fitting place for him to get it done if he does win here tonight. Not only would he have the most wins in a single season of anyone here in the Garage Up College Cup Series history, he would also join the only 2 people in front of him in the career wins total with a win here at Vegas. Matthew Morton, the leader here with 15. Jared Kaler, who won back in Season 4, he's got 12. Nanny currently sits at 10, but lacking the supposedly elusive Vegas win. Who knew that was going to be a hot-button issue for those of our 3 winningest drivers here in College Cup Series history? But with that, we'll also real quick throw up the race analysis on your screen. All right, we will throw that up in a second, but the pace car going to drift his way back on the pit road. Green flag high above the field, and it is out. We are racing in the desert. So Daniel Lanny going to lead the opening lap, but it's a bit of a log jam behind him. Reese Bayham side by side with the 100 of Drew Williams. DeWale and Cummings going to go out of here for fourth. Then you got Sanchez and Schulenberger side by side as well. A lot of side by side here in the opening couple laps as everyone's trying to get sorted and find where they're going to put their car in the running order.
And already we're 3 wide for third place. Oh, Drew Williams, Jake Cummings with a little bit of contact coming out of 4. Williams also hitting the wall. And now Edward Sanchez is coming up to the back bumper. Still 3 wide going into 1. DeWale on the bottom. And now Jake Cummings to his outside. Drew's going to fall back into Brandon Schulberger. Edward Sanchez, they make a little contact coming through 1 and 2.
Yeah, a very physical couple of corners there through 1 and 2 between Schulenberger and Sanchez. They try to get that thing sorted as they fall back to 6th and 7th, respectively. And this little battle here for seconds heating up. Cummings got around Drew Williams. He's up to P2 now as he's door-to-door with Bayham. And they are both just a car length off the rear bumper here of Daniel Nanny. On board with the 7 of Brandon Schulenberger. We talked to him in the pre-show. He won here last year, and he is on the move toward the front as he takes a peek to the inside of the Clemson machine.
Right now, Brandon's on the pace of a car a lap, sitting up 3 positions and trying to get 4 here by the end of this lap. But it looks like Drew Williams is able to clear him. And now Schollenberger is able to keep it, single file. He's going to be able to have a little bit of breathing room for the time being. But there's a hungry stack of cars behind him because here at Vegas, every restart just seems like you can't get away from anyone unless it's about 10 or 15 laps into the run.
And that's the thing, especially with all of them on fresh tires, you're really able to put the car wherever you want in the opening couple laps, and the car will react accordingly. However, you find out about 10 laps into the run who has actually been taking care of their tires those opening few laps and who hasn't. And that's where you see things really starting to stretch out. So I would give it a couple laps, and I think you'll see a lot of cars starting to really get strung out here as we have more side-by-side action up at the front. This is the battle for third. Cummings has fallen back just a hair toward the clutches of Zach DeWale. And Daniel Nanny not really clear of anybody up front. They are on his back bumper through 3 and 4. It's Bayham down low for Auburn, and Converse's Jake Cummings up high as they round 4.
And right now, it looks like Daniel Nanny, obviously he's using every inch of the track that he can, but right now it looks like he's like at a restrictor plate here, blocking both lines going in and out of the corners. You can see Jake Cummings, we have a caution.
Oh, caution's out on the track.
Oh.
First one of the day, Grant Schiller, Alex Hallinar, both trying to get going here. The 17 and the 057 both getting shown the black and orange flag to come in for repairs. Heavy rear end damage to the 057. Wonder how he was able to get that, because Hallinar rolled off as the last car on the grid. So he must have passed a couple of folks before the caution came out here, but it looks like pretty sizable damage here to the Binghamton machine.
Coming back here, you can see he's already in a 3-wide battle, and it looks like it's not even stopping right in front of him. There's just a lot of calamity going on here in the back of the pack. CC, ooh, I think is that Carter Copini, I believe? Hitting Hallinar into the outside wall, and Grant Schiller, unfortunately, is just a victim to all of that. He gets collected up.
Just has nowhere to go. And both of them with significant damage. It was heavy contact there for Hallinar. We'll jump on board with Grant Schiller, and we'll see what the 17 was seeing. He was just behind the lead pack here. Hallinar into the fence, and yeah, just... And then that's where it really gets to be a problem. When there was contact, but he was still pointed forward, that's one thing. When you end up pitched into the fence, there's not a whole lot you can do as you both go sliding. So coming up on your screen is the race analysis, and Brad, I will happily let you take it away.
Well, I mean, as we talked about in the pre-race, I mean, these guys are going to have to deal with some high temperatures. You could see they're up into the 80s on track. But along with that, I mean, you got a lot of wind to the southeast too, which is actually kind of crazy. And just, these guys are going to have to run about 60, 65 laps on these fuel, on the fuel set. And everything relating to this race analysis, Alex, I am having trouble talking about.
It's just been one of those days. I think I think all three of us are just a little off tonight, and that's some days you have those days, but we're gonna try to keep it fun up here in the booth if nothing else, and occasionally the tongue gets tied. I've already had that happen 2 or 3 times, I think, since we've got this thing rocking and rolling. I'm trying to think from memory if I can recall which direction here is blowing to the southeast. I want to say that's going across into 1 and 2. I think it's a lot of cars who would have to be fighting headwinds going down the back straightaway and would get the benefit of the tailwinds going down the front stretch, which means you'll get some really big runs with that amount of sustained wind going into turn 1, but you're going to really have to fight through it getting into 3. I almost wonder if we'll see some cars start to wash up a bit more than they should on those older tires later in runs going into turn 1 if the wind just gives them a little bit too much speed for what the tires can handle.
Yeah, that's great analysis, Alex. I mean, I couldn't put it any better, and especially, we don't typically talk about wind being a factor anywhere we go to, but since today it's pretty windy out here in Vegas, you definitely kind of have to take that into effect. The drivers may or may not realize it, though, so we'll see if what Alex says comes to fruition.
I could also be entirely wrong. I'm quite literally trying to remember from our very fun Google Earth shot earlier which direction would east be on the track, and I could be entirely wrong. I don't know, but that much wind, regardless of what direction it's facing, will be a bit of a factor here today. Hey, all right. Producer Christian has checked, and I was about correct. The southeast sort of direction is going that general way. Oh, never mind. He just proved me wrong. It's the other way. They'll have that issue going into turn 3. Tailwinds down the back straightaway, headwinds down the front stretch. As the green flag's back out in the air, and they are going to be roaring here on the turn number 1. Side by side for second, Cummings and Bayham.
And Cummings wasting no time getting up there to second place now. Able to clear, I believe, Bayham coming out of 2 and now tracking down Daniel Nanny. And obviously that's no tall task if this season has taught us anything. But right now, I mean, Cummings is definitely someone you should be afraid of if you're Nanny. He is someone who's time in, time out, going to consistently be factors. It looks like both him and DeWale touched the wall a little bit there coming out of 4. As now Zachary DeWale faces off against Reese Bayham for the top running alumni in 3rd.
You see a couple of the Auburn cars connected here. Reese Bayham, Logan Smith, the 2nd and 3rd car on that inside lane. Is now DeWale going to roll that top side. Got to run past the 95. Is he going to be able to carry it into a challenge for the lead? He is right to the back bumper of Daniel Nanny. And he might be taking a peek to the outside here in turn 1. He's certainly thinking about it. And he's going to be to his outside. And forget about thinking about it. He just made the move. That's a power move on the outside.
I was going to say, he made it look easy here at Vegas. I mean, I know the outside has that momentum going down the backstretch, but he was able to just drive up alongside Manny and, get right by him. But if we've seen one thing at all this season, Manny is built for that long run. He has short-term speed, but his long-term speed is also killer. So, DeWale might be able to get by him for the moment, but he's going to have his hands full here come if it's going to be a long green flag run. But for now, it looks like DeWale's going to be able to get a little bit of a gap back to Nanny. And, I mean, now Jake Cummings is right up to the back bumper of Nanny as well.
Tell you what, something I find very fascinating. This was a perfect camera angle to see. Next time as they go through 1 and 2, I'll see if anyone changes, but DeWale ran about a lane off the bottom. Everyone else hugged that white line. And about 2/3 of the way through the corner, you see him just open up another car length with that extra momentum he's able to carry. Yeah, you can see it there as well. The line he is running is just a little bit different than the rest of the field right now. And boy, is he opening up that gap. It's about 4 or 5 car lengths now, and he's gaining about 1 or so every time they come out of turn 2.
Yeah, and I mean, that line is great when it comes to, he's applying a little bit more throttle halfway through the turn. And that's what's getting his car to bite down towards the end of the turn, really turn 2 and 4. As you can see here, he starts up on that higher line, dives it down low, and is able to carry so much speed coming out of the corner. But, eventually that's going to do a little bit more wear, I believe, than really these guys that are running Nanny's line like he is right now, just holding that apron. Because, these guys are letting it round the corner, letting, their cars really do the work. And I think the Whales making that car definitely look so fast. But, I mean, in time, it's going to get a little more hectic as you see Stockner and Jason Wallet now battling for the 5th position.
Yeah, good little battle here. We were seeing just how physical battles can be with the 76 last week. His incredible battle with Wyatt Burton that we were watching a good bit of the tail end of that race. He's doing battle here with the 124. Stockner, though, on that middle lane, starting to find something working. He's able to try to get around Schulenberger here for 4th. And that 124 is on the move. Looks like there is some speed to be gained here, running that middle line through the corners. But I also wonder if that is going to be more detrimental to the long-run health of these tires, because there's a lot of fast cars who are more than happy to stick down onto the apron. This is a lot of what you were speculating a minute ago here, Brad. We'll have to see if that comes to fruition, because seems like, oh boy, Nanny clipped the wall there off of 4. Justice Stockner and Cummings now getting closed in on a little 3-car breakaway.
Yeah, and I mean, Stockner is definitely showing it right now. He can make his way through this field. And I mean, Jake Cummings, Daniel Nanny, 2 of the fastest guys this whole entire season, are now under pressure from the Clemson machine of Nick Stockner. And I mean, Stockner has always ran that beautiful fire Clemson, reminiscent of a Jeff Gordon DuPont paint scheme. And, he has definitely shown speed time in, time out. And I think this season he's really done a great job of keeping himself at the front at times. And, he shows speed on old tires, which is impressive to anyone really watching. So, Stockner definitely is not someone to, just throw out, out of the conversation. He has the speed, and right now, as you ride along board with Stockner, he's trying everything he can to get around the 95 of Jake Cummings, but nothing is really working at the moment.
Yeah, he had a lot of momentum to get up to that spot. He started 10th today. He's up to 4th, but was stalled out over the past couple laps here. But this is not bad company to be stuck in a pack with. Jake Cummings, Daniel Nanny, I believe, 1st and 2nd in the points. I mean, obviously Nanny with his 5 wins. Cummings has been very consistent this year, as they are starting to reel in Zach DeWale just a little bit. That gap that was about 4 or 5 car lengths back down to about 3 or so. As Schulenberger starting to try to get back to the back bumper of Nick Stockner as well. You're starting to see this little breakaway pack form at the front. I tell you what, though, if we want to jump just a little deeper in the field, there is a lot of position to be gained and lost. A lot of cars battling side by side. Yeah, there's a look at it. There's our Muhammad Alif in that bright red number 12, trying to roll the corner around his teammate Kelton Quick for 11th. Looks like he's going to do it. I'm going to try to settle back in front of the 2. Still a lot of cars trying to sort out positions here just outside the top 10.
Yeah, right now we have a Ball State battle, but really it's 2 wide going back to about probably 22nd, 23rd. So these guys are definitely not letting an inch go away in this mid-pack, and everyone's trying to get everything they can because, as you see, our Muhammad Alif rolling that outside on Keegan Cowlick, who's currently now dropping down to 11th, and he's might make it a 2-for-1 special with Logan Smith on the inside.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to get both, and now his teammate Kelton Quick going to try to follow him on through, and there's also Nick Henley in front of him, so there's 3 Ball State cars in frame right now, as Logan Smith the only one separating that trio at the moment. And there's Lucas Moody just behind Kelton Quick, so, there's another one. There's got 4 running within 5 positions here. Logan Smith is seeing a lot of red right now, both in front of him and behind him. It's one of those things where it's incredible to see that not only does Ball State consistently be able to field so many drivers in a given race, but that they're all incredibly quick, like they're never twirling their fingers around in the back. Like they're always up and making something happen. I mean, all of this is happening from 13th on forward. I mean, obviously you have Daniel Nanny leading, But then Alif is 8th, Henley's 9th, Moody's 11th, Quick is 12th. Like, they are doing some phenomenal work, and Ben Neller's up a handful of positions as well just behind us. So it's been another good start to the day for the Ball State crew, who's looking to build on a CIL record-leading 6 wins so far this year. Nanny's got 5, Quick 1 Daytona, and they're looking for program win number 7 of the season if they can find a way to make it happen.
You can see that Ball State Cardinal flock really trying to make everything they can of this race, as the 5 of them right now, 5 in the top 12, almost half of the top 12 is Ball State. As you can see, a little battle happening here between Nick Henley and Lucas Moody, and Keegan Cowlick now getting the momentum out of the corner, going to try and take advantage to the outside of Lucas Moody. Right now, Keegan, caution is out.
Oh, and the yellow flies for the second time here today. Michael James pointed the wrong direction. There's more cars spinning at the exit of pit road. That is a good quarter mile away. That's Edward Sanchez in the 26.
Somehow
take a look here and look. Yeah, I said the 26 getting towed back to pit road. That's going to be really devastating to his chances here today. He had such a good qualifying run. Started up in 6th.
Running here with Edward Sanchez. Looks to be all alone, if this is correct. Just taking it through the tri-oval here, and might be another lap here, so whenever the action unfolds, but you can see there he already has damages. Slams the outside wall. You can see that entire right side of the car. It's absolutely gone. As you see, I believe.
So Michael James, who we saw sideways there, I think is part of what got the 26 out of sorts, but it also got the 88. Oh man, yeah, heavy contact between Michael James and Roger Primo.
And I mean, Edward Sanchez must have had the pit or something to end up back there after starting 6th position. I mean, we're riding on board here with Michael James coming out of turn 4, and he hits the apron just ever so slightly, gets a little loose, and is unable to just rebound it. And that's when he sends it into Roger Primo, and then Edward Sanchez also gets collected. But I mean, yeah, just the absolute, he didn't even touch that apron for more than a 1/10 of a second, and he was just absolutely loose coming out of the corner, riding on board here with Baruch's Edward Sanchez. You can see, I mean, nothing really can prepare you for this. I mean, he sees it from a mile away and is able to get away from the initial contact, and then gets hit by Roger Primo, sends him into the wall. And really, that hard lick to that passenger side of that car is just going to absolutely total, it looks like, and ruin his chances here.
Yeah, that's a tough break for Edward Sanchez. Heavy right front damage to the Baruch College machine, part of one of 3 cars involved in that incident, along with Roger Primo of Paul Smith's College and Michael James of Drexel. We're gonna producer Christian, is this the time or no? All right, we are gonna we'll jump up to the front of the field then, and we'll take a quick look after the pit cycle here, how people cycled out. And one thing that's really standing out to me is we had one car elect to stay out there, Brad. Cade Corbin moves to the front for the first time here today. And, if nothing else, you will get the bonus point for laps led, or leading a lap.
Yeah, I mean, Cade, the Alabama Huntsville machine is going to try and do everything he can to use these 30-lap older tires to at least stay relevant here within the top half of the field or so. I mean, we have 38 cars here today, and I think every single one of them took tires on that last caution. So he's gonna have 37 cars here with probably about a half a second faster lap times at least on his rear bumper at all times. So he has a handful ahead of him, but like you said, Alex, some points, if nonetheless, that he's going to gain from leading these laps.
Yeah, nothing wrong, especially when you're a little deeper in the field, to try to get off cycle, try to have something fall the right way for you. So we'll see how this pans out for the 08, but about the only car who did not come down pit road there. Daniel Nanny, Zach DeWale, Jake Cummings, Nick Stockner, Brandon Schulenberger, the next 5 cars who were all in the top 5 before that caution and all on fresh tires as the pace car going to peel off back down pit road. 2 cautions and a whole lot of action up at the front of the field has documented this race so far. And the green flag is in the air. We are racing once again in Las Vegas.
Cade Corv, I mean, does a great job of getting a jump on the rest of the field here, but is quickly caught up by Zachary DeWale. DeWale battling to the inside of Nanny, and those two right now, Cade Corbin's going to try and block both lanes going here into turn 3. Nanny's going to give him a little push coming into 3. Obviously, Corbin's going to have to make a little bit more braking attempt going into 3 compared to the rest of the field here. But as it stands, Cade Corbin's able to lead the first green flag run as now it's 3 wide for the lead.
Boy, he led it, but not for long. DeWale and Nanny are going to split the difference. However, going to the inside is going to pay off for the 519. Zach DeWale is going to jump to the front for the first time here today. Or actually the second time here today, apologies. So DeWale now sits in first. Nanny runs second. Cummings, Schulenberger, and now Stockner and Moore all trying to get around the outside of Corbin as Cummings hammered the wall off of 4. Going to cost him a ton of momentum. And here goes his former teammate Brandon Schulenberger around the outside to try to move into P3.
It's a battle for 3rd place between the 2 former teammates, and I mean, these guys have definitely shown it all season, some speed, and obviously Cummings has had some better results, but right now Schulenberger has the edge, making it past, and now Nick Stockner is trying to take away force from the 95 of Jake Cummings coming out of 4. I mean, Stockner has a
whoa!
What bit of room left there.
I was getting really narrow. Boy, oh boy. Brad, we almost got ourselves caution number 3 on the day right there.
Yeah, I mean, also Stockner did a great job of keeping his mind forward because, I mean, he did not flinch for 1 second after getting a little bit of contact and almost driven up into that turn 4 wall. So you see Reese Bay, I thought Stockner tried to dive into the inside of Daniel Nanny, but right now Reese Bayham looking to the inside of the Wingate machine of Brandon Schulenberger for 4th. You know, these guys up at the front are all antsy, and I mean, Jason Wallet also up here being, doing a great job of keeping himself relevant up here in the top 5 or so. So he's done a great job so far early in this race. And, all these guys, I think, have really done a great job trying to battle it out for every position they can.
That they have. It's been a really good battle up at the front. Taking a look here at the 334 Reese Bayham. Currently running in the 5th position after rolling off in 2nd. And we're seeing, looks like Schulenberger here trying to run the outside on Nanny. He might just get it here going into turn 1. That's the battle for 3rd just up ahead. The 7 looks like he's going to be able to take it there off of turn 2. So last year's winner here at Vegas, going to jump up to P3, the highest he's run all day. And now it's DeWale, Stockner, Schulenberger running 1, 2, 3 as they go. Cade Corbin doing a decent job on those older tires, though. Oh, boy, big contact between Cummings and Wallet. We'll get back to Cade Corbin in a second. That was almost huge between the 76 and the 95.
Yeah, I think the 76 didn't move down as much as the 95 thought he would, and somewhat similar to what the Phoenix dogleg attempts. A lot of people like to use that apron in the very low line, but doesn't mean you have to. I mean, it looked like Wallet right there didn't move down to the typical path for that lower line to go through the tri-oval, and Cummings really took evasive maneuvers and took it to the ultra high line to make sure he wasn't going to get hooked into the infield. And, obviously now Jake Cummings is able to get back alongside of the 76. But, Alex, Nick Stockner has taken the lead during this whole thing.
That he has. Nick Stockner up to the front. He's gotten around the 519 as Zach DeWale, and Clemson here is going to take the lead on lap 38. Tell you what, that 124 machine's been fast all day. He drove his way to the front during that longer green flag stint and then got a good run going right after the restart here. And now he's leading his first couple laps under green. And unlike a couple of times when we see the 124 up front, it's not through pit strategy today. This is just raw pace that's put him up at the front of the field right now.
Yeah, he has definitely earned his way up to this top spot. And like you said earlier, Alex, I mean, Cade Corbin also, after starting first on those old tires, keeping it in the top 10, staying in front of Drew Williams, staying in the pack with the draft. And he's done a great job of keeping the Alabama Huntsville machine in the mix. But right now, you can see the Clemson machine, the 124, taking the top spot, and Zach DeWale freshly on the back bumper. As we're going to take a look back here at the battle, the way that the Clemson machine was able to get around Zach DeWale.
I don't know if that was net code or a little bump and run, but he just simply pushed the 519 up the hill coming out of 2 and was able to capitalize. I would love to talk to them after the race to know if that was a net code or if he actually got the corner in there. But doesn't change the fact that the 124 out in front just ahead of the 519. And, already 40 laps complete here from Vegas. We're watching round 9 of the Garage Shop College Cup Series, the Esports In-State Tuition 200, presented by Texas A&M Texarkana Esports. It's been an interesting one to this point. 2 cautions, a handful of lead changes. And right now, a lot of cars battling inside the top 10, most notably, if we jump just behind this, the 76 of Jason Wallet and the 334 of Reese Bayham going the war there for P5.
The war it is. I mean, here in Vegas, obviously you have your preferred line. Typically, this track is amazing to drive, and those who prefer the outside line obviously are using it here today. I think Stockner obviously is showing what he can do here in Vegas, and you can see DeWale keeping that line consistent here through 1 and 2 that we talked about earlier in the race, and getting that momentum off of the corner. And right now, I mean, DeWale is just giving all the pressure he can to the 124, but the 124 is doing a great job of keeping his composure. And, even though he's pushing the limits at times, he is going to, keep it out in front of this pack, as you see Daniel Nanny now battling to the inside of Brandon Schoenberger.
Yeah, nice little battle unfolding there. You see P3, P5 all going the war here, little 3-4 car battle. Nanny has gotten back around the 7 of Brandon Schulenberger, though. He'll jump up to P3. Oh, wreck deeper in the field. Big wreck down the back straightaway. Kelton Quick, Andrew McManus, and more.
Ooh. Zach Tallman, I believe, involved potentially as well. But yeah, huge hit for Andrew McManus.
Yeah, Kelton Quick, Andrew McManus going for a ride. And it's a bad day to have the number 2 in your on your car if that's the case. The 2 and the 22, both around and in the wall. Bringing out our 3rd caution of the day here on lap 45. We'll see if we can find what happened to the 2 of Kelton Quick and the 22 of Andrew McManus.
And it might have been a little bit of commentator's curse highlighting Ball State earlier. You can see here Andrew McManus hitting the wall a little bit further back here. And you can see Kelton Quick now getting up towards Andrew McManus. And it looks like coming through 1 and 2, McManus on that high line, super high line. Ethan Decatur split in the middle between Ball State and Toledo. It looks like McManus doesn't take it all the way up to the wall, and Decatur was expecting that to happen, and that causes these 3 to make a perfect triangle here going down the backstretch, and that sends the 2 right into the outside as Connor Zabosian squeaks on by.
Oh, man, just narrowly escapes. Jack Wilson not as lucky, but looks like minimal contact there for the 9 as the 71 gets a little out of sorts trying to avoid as well. We got to see the onboard of Zabosian there as he gets through. There was not a margin for error as he slipped on by between the wall and that wreck.
And, a lot of these times these guys just got to pick, either go really low or stay up towards the wall and hope for the best. And for Connor Zabosian, that was his, I think, only option, and riding on board now.
So we'll take a look here at the onboard with Zabosian, and this is, I mean, the reflexes to get up and out of the way here. I mean, man, I would have probably hit the brakes there, and that would have been my downfall, but just barely sneaks on by. Wow. All right, folks, we are going to step away for a quick commercial break, but you don't want to go anywhere. When we come back, continued coverage of the Esports In-State Tuition 200 presented by TAMUT Esports here from Vegas. We'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate. Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible.
All right, pace car peels off. We are back here on the CIL. And the green flag's back in the air here at Vegas. It'll be Nick Stockner going to lead him to the green.
Supported by a huge push by Daniel Nanny, and now Nanny takes firm control of that second spot away from Zachary DeWale. And now Jake Cummings is on the hunt for that third position as they're seemingly single file out. And now Daniel Nanny's looking to the inside of Nick Stockner.
And he is going to find his way around the 124 on the inside. A great launch for the 30 and Nanny there. Although I would not say he's out of the woods yet. Side by side for second now, Stockner and DeWale. These three cars have all led some laps here today. And they're all going to be trying to fight for that lead spot as DeWale closes right up to the back bumper. Actually gives the 30 a bit of a push coming out of turn 2. Gonna get him just loosened up enough to dive to the inside in here in 3. And he'll take that lead away. A new leader once again, and this time it's Zach DeWale of St. Clair College. Past 3 laps have had 3 different leaders, and this might continue as Nanny's on the back bumper again.
And 3 completely different color schemes. I mean, this is just 3 completely different situations here. So you've got a lot of great fast drivers, and now looking back towards 5th place, Brandon Schollenberger, Reese Bayham duking it out for that top 5 position. Behind them, Jason Wally and Keegan Calick also involved here with all this mayhem going on at the front.
Tell you what, that's a driver I've been really impressed with in recent weeks. It's the 29 of Keegan Calick. Has been very subtly working his way into the top 10 week in, week out. He's put together some really good runs, and he's looking to do that again here today as he is battling for that 7th position with Jason Wallet. If we take a look here, this battle, Reese Bayham, Brandon Schulenberger, door-to-door for 5th. 2 guys who are coming into today's race with a lot of momentum, trying to find their way to the front. They have really good pace today. They just need something, that little extra bit to maybe get up there and battle for the lead. As Stockner clipped the wall off of 4, checked up the inside lane, or the outside lane a little bit, kind of stacked everything back up. And now Schulenberger looking to capitalize, might get alongside Jake Cummings here off of 2.
And Jake Cummings is now getting alongside of Daniel Nanny as you see 2 wide back to 9th place between these guys. And it's really, 2 wide is really behind these first 2. And now Jake Cummings trying to make his name known here right now, getting up into that top 3 finally and trying to make sure he can at least secure a podium spot. And Jason Wallet's going to also try to take 4th place away from Daniel Nanny.
Yeah, some good battling happening here. And I also want to just take a quick second here, call out the fact that Matthew Nordberg has gone from 29th to 10th here today at 0.76, right now battling for that last spot in the top 10, but he is the biggest mover of today's race by a significant margin. Zach Tallman, Esteban Munoz, Keegan Calick, Ethan Decatur, all part of that bunch as well, who are on the move early. This front group, man, they are moving right now. A lot of battles, a lot of positions getting traded here as these folks are continuing to dice it up. See there, Jason Wallet, Brandon Schulenberger, 76 from Drexel up high, the 7 from Wingate down low. Not a whole lot of takers running that high line like the 76 is, but he's getting some good momentum off the corner as Esteban Munoz nearly lost it off of turn 4. He had to check up big time when he got way out of sorts off the corner. And that's just the kind of things that can happen here at Vegas. You get on the throttle a little too early, the back end steps out on you, and then you got to do a lot of work to try to catch it.
And one thing to note as well, I mean, like, outside of all of this craziness going on, I mean, Cade Corbin, I believe, did he pit this past caution? I'm not sure about that.
If producer Christian, if you'd be so kind as to maybe throw up the last pit here on the screen, we'll take a look here to see what Cade Corbin did. I want to say he probably, yes, he did.
Oh, he did.
And a lot of other folks did not, so those are some fresh tires that are going to start eating up the field here. Early strategy call might be working out here for Cade Corbin. Logan Smith, another guy who also took tires that stop.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I was about to say if he did not, then I'm surprised he's staying where he is, but with those fresh tires compared to everyone else, he's going to be able to put himself in a good position, as it looks like a conglomerate of cars back here battling from 9th on back. Reese Bayham, Lucas Moody, Clint Hollerman, Cade Corbin trying to push his way through. These guys are all kind of stacked up and trying to find somewhere to go.
Yeah, there is a lot of a logjam happening right now. Drew Williams on that outside lane with several cars behind him. Brandon Schulenberger on the inside. Things, it looks a little bit like a mini Atlanta at the moment, how much those guys are stacked up double file. You see the 7 diving back down to that yellow line, trying to get all the way down to the paint. You got Lucas Moody trying to side draft up high. Man, some good battle, some good action happening right there. Something to keep an eye on, though, up at the front of the field is Daniel Nanny just got around race leader Zach DeWale to the 30, back out front for probably the 4th or 5th time here already today as we get our way on the lap 59. Taking the lead has been relatively easy, I think, for the field. Holding on to it's been the bigger challenge because we've already seen quite a handful of lead changes.
Yeah, and I mean, these guys are just now getting to their longest tire stint at 30 laps. And, you know, these guys, obviously, like I said before, Daniel Nanny does a great job of keeping his tires under him and keeping them cool and collected. So, you know, himself and his tires are very concentrated right now, keeping themselves pretty much on earth here in the desert heat, trying to keep every lap on these rubbers as he can. But, you know, as you're looking back through here now, I mean, about 10 laps after that caution, it's about to get single file until you get back to about 12th or 13th. So these guys are starting to finally settle down here and try to battle it out, you know, pick their battles when they can. But right now, I mean, Daniel and Annie trying to build somewhat of a gap. You can see the top 5 are pretty much spaced out equivalently.
The 30 of Daniel Annie, about a car length or 2 ahead on DeWale. Similar distance back to Nick Stockner, Jake Cummings, Jason Wallet. Your top 5 as they run. Tell you what, if it's possible, Bruce Christian, why don't we show some love to the back end of the field to see if there's any fun battles happening toward the tail end. I have no idea if there is, but yeah, here we go. Here's something a little deeper in the pack. It's a fun little battle. Connor Zabosian, Nick Henley going out of here. The 72 from Kettering University trying to hold on to 17th right now. Nick Henley, the 64 for Ball State, trying to take it away on the inside. And, you know, that's a car who in recent weeks we haven't seen as much of, but it's been a really good debut season for the 72 of Zabosian. He's trying to pick up a few more positions here on this run, as now he is clear of the 64 Henley.
Now, I mean, you can see these guys are way more spaced out than the front of the pack here, and now it's kind of, you know, everyone's trying to keep their pace, try to stay concentrated. In case this goes green for a long time, you really want to try and keep as fresh of tires as you possibly can, because Las Vegas if you have the rubber, you can do a lot of things here. But the one thing I think we've seen a lot of guys do is burn that rubber early, and that's caused them to potentially lose out here towards the end of these runs. And also, turn 4 has been just an absolute menace to everyone.
Yeah, it certainly has, and it's something that you got to try to circumnavigate as we look back up toward the top 10. Boy, are things getting busy up here. Keegan Kallick up high, Logan Smith down low. Got Ben Neller right in the mix there in 11th as well. Schulenberger's fallen all the way back to 12th. Don't know if something happened to the 7. But we have ourselves quite the race on our hands right now for 9th and 10th. As they all try to get this sorted out. Reese Bayham right in the mix as well. Nearly chopped the nose off of his teammate there off of 2.
Now Keegan Kallick getting an absolute push from the Wingate machine of Brandon Schulenberger, getting past Ben Neller, and now we're kind of getting back to a 2-wide action here. Keegan Kallick looks like he slides up a little bit hard in that outside wall. That's going to hurt him. Definitely a little bit of, probably a little bit of wheel action there. And as you see, a little bit of 3-wide action up in front.
Yeah, Reese Bayham up high there. That battle just in front of him. I want to say that was Lucas Moody, Drew Williams, who were all battling 3-wide. Moody is the big winner of that. He'll jump all the way up to P6. The highest that the 13 has run today. Bayham and Williams now side by side coming off of turn 4. Schulenberger hits the wall. Oh, and they're ricocheting Corbin into Smith. And they save it, but it might be 4 wide as they get into 1. We're on board here with Cade Corbin. He's on fresher tires than the cars in front of him. Boy, did he just take a shot, though, there from Brandon Schulenberger.
Yeah, and I think right now Cade's trying to get anywhere away, trying to get away from everyone right now on those fresher tires. He's better at keeping, himself, trying to keep himself consistent, because he's going to run faster laps than everyone else here, as long as no one else is going to really hit him like he just got hit by Brandon Schulenberger and everyone else involved. But right now, able to get by the 34 of Logan Smith. But Smith is pulling to that inside, and also Ben Neller as well, diving in there into turn 1. Drew Williams just in front of them as well. This is just a traffic jam here for Cade Corbin.
And so Corbin now up to P10. He's got Logan Smith to his inside still. And this lead group from, dare I say, 5th on back is starting to really find themselves connected, as Wallet has fallen into the clutches of the pack, as you would say. 16th through 5th, all under a blanket right now. Looks like they're running an Atlanta race. Letting that top 4 start to slip away further and further. But man, that is some fire action going on there. I can't even believe I just said that out loud. That was just a slip of the mind, I have to say. But it's truly some fantastic stuff to be watching right now. We take a look here from the blimp cam, seeing just how little room these guys are giving each other as they make their way down the front straightaway to start lap 70.
And pick a driver anywhere you want. They're pretty much within the action until you get back to Matthew Norberg. Anywhere you look here, just absolute calamity as they're 3-wide. Brandon Schulenberger, Cade Corbin, and Ben Neller all inside of that 3-wide action. They're coming down the backstretch. Clint Halterman also joining the action, along with Muhammad Alif now making it 3-wide. Cade Corbin has been stuck in the middle a couple of times now in these battles, and right now it looks like he's able to get through that with the fresher tires, as somebody got a little checked up here on the front stretch.
Yeah, things starting to stack up, runs not matching each other, and this is, I think, that point in time where we're starting to see, when we were talking earlier about that tire fall off, starting to see who saved their stuff, who didn't. We're starting to see some cars really surge to the front here, and some cars who are really struggling. We jump on board Clint Halterman, 007 winner this year at Atlanta, trying to find his way by on the yellow paint. Has to get way down there, but he has a run on Corbin, and he might be able to take it here as he moves up to P11. Got 2 for 1 there coming off of turn 4. Oh, look at that 3-wide behind him. Corbin in the middle, Alif up high, Nordberg down low. They're all going to have just enough room coming off the corner. Man, it is an absolute firestorm happening right now.
And you can see Clint his eyes are locked on that screen. He has absolutely no room for errors. You see Alif slightly scratch the wall there coming out of 4. Like, these guys are all just absolutely letting it just all these battles happening all at the same time. Just a fist fight here every lap. And it never stops, as now Norberg is going to the outside of Cade Corbin. Corbin consistently under pressure at all times, and now Leaf's trying to make an action to the outside of Clint Halterman.
Yeah, Leaf gonna take that run to the high side. It's got a nose ahead, but not much more. You see this field, it's all the same cars, but they have shuffled where they've been running. You see Jason Waller has slipped down to 10th. Lucas Moody up to 5th. Ben Neller has worked his way to 7th. He broke free of this giant pack. A Leaf going all the way up to the fence, 3 wide around Wallet and Corbin. And I don't know the last time we have seen so much 3 wide racing here at Vegas. Caution's out right up front. Oh, Nick Stockner gets hit as they go into turn number 3. Cade Corbin's also around. The 124 was stopped basically right at the entrance to turn 3, and he was running top 4. I want to say he was 3rd or 4th when the caution flew.
That was, you just saw smoke, and then all of a sudden, the 124 machine is around and just appears, and it looks like Cade Corbin unfortunately gets caught up in that. And, they were having little battles at the front, but we'll have to see if potentially some contact occurred here, especially down the backstretch.
Yeah, it's a weird place for a caution to come out. Typically, you don't see something in the middle of the straightaway. So there's the 124 of Stockner. He was running 3rd. Has Jake Cummings right behind him. This was 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Daniel Nanny was about a 2nd clear of the field here. See, they're getting under. Oh, gets loose and gets tagged by the lap car of Jack Wilson. But I actually think Wilson gave him enough room. I think the 124 just got loose trying to avoid him because he caught him at the worst place on track, right at the exit of turn 2. I'll have to take another look at it. But that's how that happened. And then as he was sliding, everyone had to scatter to avoid, and I think it was Cade Corbin who got a piece of him. And oh, no, the 9 does come down a little bit off the wall. And the 124 was trying to push it all the way up as far as he could. The 2 meet in the middle. Heavy damage there for Stockner. He gets put around. And then watch this as the field comes rolling on by. And let's just take one more look here at the onboard.
You can see, I mean, right now, this is, yeah, like Alex said, the absolute worst spot you can catch a lap car out of the turn. You can see, I think Nick gets a little loose, but not a lot, and then just gets tagged in the right rear, sends him up into the wall. And even though there was a lot of distance to the cars behind, you can see everyone starting to take evasive maneuvers, diving down, but that huge group, and Brandon Schulenberger along with Cade Corbin gets tagged in all that mess.
Yeah, so initially I thought it was Corbin who had clipped the 124. Turns out it was actually the 7 of Brandon Schulenberger, and then it was the Ricochet that caught, I believe, the 08 as he was trying to get by on the far side. Take one final look here on board with the 08 of Cade Corbin. You see the smoke. You see he works his way up, and yeah, just the contact from the 7 flips the nose of Stockner's car around. And that was all she wrote for the 08. Gets enough to lose control, though. A good job to keep it from really getting torn up there.
Unfortunately, I think that pit strategy that Corbin had set up definitely got blown out by this caution. I mean, obviously, he had to come get some tires because those tires were flat spotted, and I think Nick Stockner obviously going to have to sit in the pits for a while after all the damages. And after having a great run throughout the day, the halfway mark is where he really met his maker.
Yeah, it was a really good run going for the 124, but maybe not meant to be here today. And this caution comes actually at a really opportune time. The estimated fuel window for today was about 60 to 65 laps, and I believe it is exactly 66 laps or so to the end of this race, so they might be able to make it from here. It's going to be a really tight squeeze. Or, sorry, my math is on. Does that say 57 or 67? 57. Okay, yeah, they will be good to go on fuel then until the end of the race. Didn't carry the one. As the green flag is back out in the air. Daniel Nanny going to lead them into turn 1. And with these guys fully stocked up on fuel and tires, they could, in theory, make it to the end of this race without stopping again if this thing stays going.
Daniel Nanny carrying that one of first place all the way, about 2 car lengths away from Zachary DeWale. The rest of the company packed behind him. You can see a couple Auburn cars included as well. Really just a lot of schools here ready to try and take away what they can here on this restart. Obviously, if you want to make up a lot of spots, the time is now, but obviously I think everyone else is trying to do the same. You do see the field just spread out absolutely across the track in that front stretch. Looking to the inside of Manny. Manny getting his rear mirrors full of that St. Clair machine. Zachary DeWale not letting anything loose. As you can see, Jake Cummings, Reese Bayham now battling for that third position. Cummings taking it all the way to the apron, but Bayham's going to try and use every bit of momentum he can to stay to the outside and really take that third spot away with ease. And now setting his eyes to the front runners now as you see a battle for the lead.
Oh, it's about to be 3 wide up there, too. Here comes Bayham all the way to the bottom. They split Daniel Nanny, and now it's DeWale and Bayham, but the 334 is going to get the best of them. New leader here with 53 laps to go. Auburn's Reese Bayham going to pick up his first lap lead of the day, and a nifty move making it 3 wide and getting all the way down to the apron. That's definitely a move you can make on fresh tires, but here comes DeWale back to the outside. We've seen on fresh tires he can make that middle lane work better than anybody, and he will power his way back to the front here in the 3.
And every time there's been a caution, you could tell that everyone really has the ability to pass each other, and as time goes on, it's harder and harder to make those moves. As you've seen, really the podium positions I think have all really led a lap here in the last 2 cautions. So these guys are all battling it out, and now, if you're anyone past, the top 5, really, if you're someone like Ben Neller, Drew Williams, Clint Holtzman, Matthew Norberg, you're trying to make your way to the front while you can, potentially hope for a caution, use up your tires, and then, if you're someone maybe further back like Jared Kaler right now in 14th or Esteban Munoz in 15th, potentially saving those tires for a potential green flag run to end the race.
A nice little battle going on here through the middle of the field. Wallet, Nordberg, side by side. So many positions still up for grab here on the restart. Going to try to work that outside. Is he going to be able to make it go? Looks like he has a nose ahead of the line, but not by much. Boy, that was close.
And now the battle of the 76s right now are taking place. As you see, Wallet's able to launch out in front of Matthew Norberg and now try to take advantage of Clint Halterman, and now to the back bumper of Ben Neller. Wallet's done a great job of keeping himself fast during these short stints, and right now I think he's one of those people trying to use up every inch of his tires. You see him really hit the wall and some smoke.
Yeah, not only did he hit the wall, I think someone in front of him did right around the same time. Might have been Drew Williams or Lucas Moody just up ahead. Also clipped the wall, put up a bit of smoke. A little bit of right front damage for the 76, but he's not knocking down the wall just yet. See him settling in the P10 here, trying to track down Ben Neller. Now, this really becomes an interesting moment in this race, I think. If you look at the field starting to get single-filed out. Zach DeWale runs first, Reese Bayham second, Daniel Nanny sits in third. We know the 30 has absolutely phenomenal long-run pace. Probably the best of anybody in the field. And if this thing stays green all the way to the end, I have to imagine he's got to be the favorite, even if he's sitting in third right now. I think the big question mark, honestly, is the 334 Reese Bayham. Because we know DeWale has some short-run speed, but the long-run pace seemed to be off of the 30 a little bit. I'm curious to see if the 334 has something different in store, or does the 13? Lucas Moody has had to work his way through the field here today, and this is about as high as he's been able to run, but this is the closest to the lead that he's been all day. Does the 13 of Lucas Moody have something that we just haven't been able to see yet while he's been working his way through traffic? There's a lot of question marks and not a whole lot of time to settle them, but we do know that chances are you will need to be able to save your tires all the way to the end of this thing.
Alex, you worded that like I should be watching some like Dateline NBC or like some series show here like next Sunday. Because, you know, these guys are all really trying to make sure they are keeping themselves relevant. And obviously right now, as you see Drew Williams and Logan Smith battling it out for 6th spot, I mean, these guys are all just trying to keep it straight, trying to keep it consistent. And also, you can see Drew Williams dive it down in front of Logan Smith. And now Lucas Moody trying to take the outside there. It seems like, obviously, when you get to that outside, a lot of these guys just rocket on by, especially with these fresher tires. They're 3 wide there. Jason Wallet, Ben Neller, and I believe Logan Smith to the outside. Now break it down to 2 wide.
Yeah, it was 3 wide for a second. Wallet backed out just a hair. And now he's going to look to maybe make it 3 wide again. He had a run on Neller. The 79 tried to block it. The 76 said, too bad, I'm here. And now door to door they go. Wallet to the inside of Ben Neller, trying to take away the 9th position. Not going to be able to do it, though. An authoritative block from the 79 through the trioval. And now Halterman looking to pounce on the outside. He's got Matt Nordberg just behind him. Well, that's the thing when you're running here right around the tail end of the top 10. Just when you think you have a run on someone, if you don't get that past the stick, there are 2, 3 more cars trying to pounce and take that spot away. As Halterman's going to clear all of them. And now put the 007 up the 9th as Neller and Nordberg, a little bit of contact through 4.
That sent Nordberg right into the wall on turn 4. Right now, Ben Neller is kind of the Cade Corbett of this green flag round and getting stuck in the middle every time it seems like there's a 3-wide battle. And now he's just to the outside of Esteban Munoz, who's done a great job here recovering from that little slip-up earlier in the race and now battling for 12th.
See a good little battle just in front of him. See Logan. Oh boy, dooring each other there. Esteban Munoz and Ben Neller. Boy, elbows are out here. The 79, the 009. That's the battle for 12th. And it's not over yet. Oh boy, Munoz almost lost it out of 2. Oh, and now he's going all the way down to the apron. Boy, that 009 is everywhere but pointed the right direction right now. It's a miracle he kept that car still running just 1 spot behind the 79. He covered a whole lot of distance east-west down the back straightaway.
I mean, luckily every direction he's facing is forward at least, because he has, you know, kept it forward all day. And I think also him and Matthew Norberg right now are kind of all, you know, they're falling like rocks really through this mid-pack and now trying to keep everything they can. I mean, Esteban Munoz keeping himself relevant, but I mean, Norberg has been hitting the wall and it looks like his car is just, you know, right now a scraped up machine just going down the front and back stretch. But you can see everyone seems to just really be hitting the turn 4 wall. So no one, you know, there's no Las Vegas stripe, I don't think, but, you know, some of these guys in the CIL really want it to happen.
And while that was going on, we had a pass for the lead last lap. Daniel Nanny has jumped back to the front of this field. To the 30 has retaken the lead, but Zach DeWale's right there to try to take that spot away. We've got ourselves a battle for the lead here with 40 laps to go. You see Jake Cummings in on the mix as well. Reese Bayham has been shuffled all the way back to 5th, maybe make it 6th. But we are getting really active here in the top 3. Cummings going to try to work his way up around the 519. A little crossover move. Tries to get to the inside here as they dive into turn 3. And this is all just behind race leader Daniel Nanny.
And Nanny loves to see some 2-wide racing behind him. That's all good. The only thing that's really going to do is give him a little bit more room, especially after DeWale hits the wall hard coming out of 4. And now Cummings is going to give a push to the St. Clair machine going into turn 1 despite everything going on. And I mean, really up here at the front, no lack of action as you see these top 7 have a little bit of a gap to Drew Williams and the rest of the field.
And oh boy, things got really narrow there between DeWale and Cummings. Here comes Brandon Schulenberger up the 4th. Tell you what, anytime I think that 7's starting to lose a bit of steam, he gets right back up into the top 5. He's been as fast as anybody here tonight. You see now nose to tail, fanning out just a little bit in the corner. Nanny just so good at hugging that apron, forcing people to make the move on the outside. And the only person we've really been able to see to do that so far today has been Zach DeWale, as he'll take Another look just in that middle lane a little bit. Got a little loose, though. Lost a bit of time. Here comes Cummings to the inside as they make their way to 36 to go here from Vegas.
And Cummings barely almost hit that grass in the infield. He's able to clear Zach DeWale going into one. And now he's going to try and set his sights on Daniel Nanny. Like a lot of this season, seems like Cummings has had to try and get past the 30, but the 30 is such an immovable object at times. How is it going to differ here in Vegas? I mean, you have multi-groove racing potentially, but also you have a hungry Zach DeWale to your back bumper.
Cars continuing to swap places here in the top 10, in the top 5. As the sun's starting to get a little bit lower, it's going to start dropping those track temps just a little bit on a windy day here in Vegas. In case you're joining us late, want to welcome you in. This is the 9th race of the Garage Shop College Cup Series season, the Esports In-State Tuition 200, presented by TAMUT Esports. Thank you to Texas A&M Texarkana for sponsoring today's race as Moody hammered the wall off of 4. Gonna drop him back a little bit. More action door to door for second. Zach DeWale, Jake Cummings. This battle will continue. They've run in the top 4 all race long and are continuing to trade that second place back and forth as they're just ever so slightly falling off the pace of leader Daniel Nanny, partially maybe due to the side drafting from running for second.
And I mean, Nanny isn't pulling away. I mean, but definitely both of these guys are burning a little bit more rubber than they'd like to, as Cummings is able to clear DeWale now for the time being and back to setting his eyes on the back bumper of Daniel Nanny. But these guys really, you know, have to worry about, you know, if the rest of this race goes green, how are you going to track down Nanny, and then how are you going to pass him? Because really, I mean, outside of these top, well, now 5 cars, I think, you know, you have to be within striking distance if this thing goes green. And these guys are all staying within draft distance. And I mean, the 2 cars of Reese Bayham, Logan Smith from Auburn, also staying in this little pack in case it gets a little hectic. But I think really, if this thing goes green, these 5 cars are going to have to try and figure a way to success here in Vegas. And, you know, it's go big or go home here in Vegas. So we'll see what happens.
And I tell you what, you know, Daniel Nanny obviously, oh boy, dive to the apron. Cummings took a shot down low, trying to get under the 30. An aggressive block from Nanny shuts the door as more cars are hitting the wall. Well, that almost wrecked first and second place. It was a late lunge from the 95, a later block from the 30. And it's a miracle both of them got out of that unscathed.
I mean, definitely Nanny is going to, you know, not really lose too much out of that exchange, but Cummings probably had to lock or break a lot going into turn 3 there after that checkup, and now DeWale's going to try and do something with this little bit of advantage that he has against Cummings, but Cummings is able to roar it out of turn 4, get a little bit of gap, now back to the St. Clair machine, and, you know, these guys, there's a caution.
Caution's out. 30 laps to go. The caution's out. Trey Lamprecht sideways at the start-finish line. That is not what you want to see if you are the 43 machine. Trey Lamprecht, the Texas A&M San Antonio driver, sideways. We'll have to take a look here to see what happened to him, but that is also going to very much change the complexion of this race. You'll see here is in the middle of 3 wide. Burrell down low, Munoz up high. And it looks like he just got tagged a little bit there from the 08 to Cade Corbin. Just came up, tapped him in the left rear on corner exit. And it doesn't take a whole lot of extra force there in that part of the car coming off a corner to end up sideways. Luckily, though, no other cars look to be collected. It looks to be just the single car who goes around.
Now going to ride on board with Cade Corbin. And as you can see, running that low line, gaining some speed. And obviously, it doesn't look like it's 3 wide, but I think Trey Lambrecht is taking that line like it is. And obviously, Cade Corbin was not sending it up into the 43. And the Texas A&M San Antonio car sends it to the inside. Luckily, did not hit anything in that exchange. Probably going to need new tires as you see everyone come down pit road. Some fresh rubber. And
we'll have some pit stops here, some critical ones. Is everyone diving down for what could be the potential final stop of the day? Enough laps have passed, though, where you're going to want to put fresh tires on it. And with 28 to go, you're almost certainly going to want to put 4 of them on. You see right sides up for a lot of folks, left sides going on. As they run off of pit road. Oh, it was a good stop for DeWale, but just not enough. Nanny going to be able to hold on to the lead spot. DeWale second, Cummings third. Looks to be Reese Bayham who will go off fourth. But while we've got a second, want to take a second to we'll catch up here in the infield care center with one of the folks who is just leaving the care center now. This is the driver, the 26, Edward Sanchez from Baruch College. Edward, you got a copy?
Hey, yes, I'm totally not doing a draft message right about now. But no, they just the infield care center, and I was just in the holler. I was doing some draft messages, and I actually finished 4th. So, you know, as much as tonight sucks, you know, I was able to just do an official, make myself feel a little bit better, but just a tragic ending. Qualified P6. I did a contrary strategy. I went in with Drew, got 4 fresh tires, got fuel to make it a one-stopper, and, well, you saw what happened.
That we did. A tough break for you, but, you know, Edward, obviously running the officials now, trying to, you know, make something of the evening. I guess I'll just ask you this. Obviously, Vegas, not your day. How do you feel about Iowa coming up next week?
I know next week we're going to Iowa, and Iowa is definitely going to be a track where I absolutely was abysmal last time we were there last year. I think I wrecked out 4 times. I ended up being 14 laps down. But that was young me. That was rookie me, and who did no practice and had no experience in Iowa. I've done 400 laps in Iowa this winter series, doing the V car, the Xfinity, and the Xfinity tends to be a lot more, I guess, tire management than the Cup car. So I feel like I have a good shot maybe for Iowa next week. But I mean, I just want to set the record. Obviously, Roger and I, you know, everything's good. What happened was that as Roger, I'm not sure if you saw on the replay, Roger skidded over the grass. And, you know, sometimes you can like spin left, you can spin right, you can keep going straight, and it just spit him out. So I thought I was avoiding the first car below. I tried to get away from him. And Roger, unfortunately, I think he broke a toe link and his car veered right. And last second, it just snapped and I couldn't avoid it.
That's fair. Well, Edward, thanks for dropping by. Best of luck next week at Iowa.
Thank you. Shout out to Baruch ESA. Love you guys. I know you guys were watching tonight. Support everyone else in this broadcast. Good luck, guys. Thank you guys for the broadcast. Love you guys. Mwah.
That was Edward Sanchez, driver number 26, released from the infield care center. As we go back to green flag racing here in the closing laps of this one from Vegas. It'll be a good launch for Daniel Nenny. He's going to gap the field by about a car length and a half as they get onto the back straightaway. 3 wide for second on back. Here comes DeWale, Cummings, and Bayham. All things going to get squeezed together a little bit. The 95 going to lose out in that exchange just for a moment. He's going to tuck right back in behind DeWale as we get on to 25 laps to go from Las Vegas.
And Bayham is going to try and use the tires that he has early and try to do everything he can. Daniel Nanny's loving this battle going on for second right now. Zachary DeWale, Reese Bayham. As you see, a 3-wide action. Brandon Schollenberger, Lucas Moody, Drew Williams battling for 5th. Connor Zabosia making his way up now into the top 10 along with Clint Haltman, doing a great job making their presence known when it matters and just pushing the ever-living heck out of Brandon Schollenberger as everyone gets in the wall.
Just about everybody in the outside lane got into the wall off of 4. And we're about to knock it down there with how many cars went up into it. So we take a look here. This is the battle for 5th. Reese Bayham, Drew Williams. Side by side as DeWale gets a run on Cummings just up ahead for 2nd. These guys have been refusing to let each other get separated for this battle for P2. They keep trying to track down Daniel Nanny, but they simply cannot get unglued from each other in the process. And it's about to become a little 3-car battle as here comes Lucas Moody. Yeah, why not make it 3 when you can make it 6? Everything getting stacked up right now behind P2 and 3.
And I mean, right now, unless you're Daniel Nanny, Daniel Nanny's doing a great job, obviously having to conserve his tire and just staying in that fresh air while everyone out here is trying to just keep their spot. And, you know, Jake Cummings and Zach DeWale unable to unglue themselves with Reese Bayham huge into the wall.
Yeah, Bayham hit the wall there, chucked up the 13 a little bit. Looks like Cummings will finally separate for second. He'll take control of that spot as here comes Moody to the inside of Williams. He's looking to take the spot away on the inside, although the outside lane just a little bit more draft help. Vegas not a draft-dependent track by any means, but just able to help out a little bit. And, you know, also that tailwind to 24 miles an hour probably isn't going to hurt either, especially when you have a little bit of draft. See, back to the inside again goes the 13, trying to find something here. As we've also got ourselves a little battle for the lead up front. Jake Cummings has glued himself to the back bumper of Daniel Nanny. And this is the battle between first and second in the points. It's been win big up front, and it's been very consistent for the driver running P2 right now. Could they flip the scripts here today? Oh, he's going to look to the outside, a little bit of contact. Door to door now in 1 and 2. The battle's on for the lead with 20 laps to go.
And Cummings wants to add himself to the Las Vegas winners, and he's doing just that, taking the lead away with authority from Daniel Nanny. And now he's going to have to try and control the race for the final 20 laps here now. He's got a little bit of distance back to Daniel Nanny, and now Zachary DeWale trying to see if he can have anything for Daniel Nanny.
Oh, and the caution's out. Oh, and that's the Treen University machine who is sideways there up in 3 and 4. That is Nolan Starkey, who's trying to get this car rolling again. The 096, who was having a really good run before the caution came out. Not entirely sure what happened to the 096.
Looking back here, trying versus NC State as Matthew Norberg's up top here. As you can see, he's pushing it 3 wide. They make, a lot of contact. Jason Wallet, and then ultimately Nolan Stark. Just a huge hit for the Trine University machine. And that's really the ugliest it gets, thankfully, for everyone involved.
Yeah. And that will, that all starts with the 111 of Ethan Decatur. I don't know if he was not realizing that he was 3 wide or was trying to squeeze it a little bit to get a better angle going into the corner, but I mean, he was on the bottom of 3 wide and tried to work his way up to the middle lane. And that simply I don't think was going to work, because we'll take another look here off of 2. And we'll see how quickly this gets stacked up. Yeah, you've got the 076 to the outside of Wallet there, and yeah, just a little bit of contact, pushes him up, checks him into the wall. And this really becomes an interesting situation. If anyone is going to take tires here, you're going to lose a lot of track position. But is 10 laps enough time to try to justify getting new tires? It looks like a lot of the field has said no. But I'm curious that no one deeper in the field even took a flyer on it.
Yeah, I mean, even though, the 077, Clint Holtzman did pit. So if anyone, he is the one taker that wasn't involved in that crash. But it seems like, obviously it's past their prime. But, these guys are definitely going to take that track position, it seems like, coming to the last 18 laps of this race.
So the caution lights are going to go off. Jake Cummings, for the first time today, is going to lead the field to green, with Daniel Nanny to his outside. Nanny, of course, going for the record here tonight for the most wins in a single CIL Garage Shop College Cup Series season. He's looking to go for number 6 here tonight. Jake Cummings looking for his first of the season. He won several last year, but has not been able to find victory lane yet this season, despite a number of podium finishes. Looking to try to close one out here. Zach DeWale sitting in 3rd, trying to get his first win since season 8, if you could believe it. That's how long it's been since the 519 has been the victory lane. And he's looking to break that streak here tonight, if he can help it. And then sitting back in the 4th position, Drew Williams, another driver who hasn't won since season 8. So, Couple of opportunities here for cars in this top 4 to try to break some pretty long streaks since their last victory. Pace car is going to peel away. When they take the green, it's going to be 16 laps to go here from Las Vegas. Jake Cummings, Daniel Nanny. 1-2 in the points, 1-2 on track are going to lead them into turn 1. Green flag back in the air.
Just like always, Nanny does a great job of getting a huge jump in front of the rest of the field. And as you can see, Zachary DeWale takes full advantage, almost clearing Jake Cummings. And I believe they'll be side by side coming out of turn 1. So you see the rest of the field pretty much double file. Everyone's trying to get every position they can. Looking back here, now looking back, Daniel Nanny and Zach DeWale battling for second. DeWale's able to clear Nanny coming out of 4. And now DeWale's going to try and track down the other purple car up front here, Jake Cummings.
Jake Cummings has the lead. DeWale settles in the P2. Nanny looks to the inside here. He's trying to take that second spot away. And is he going to be able to? Not quite that time. A little bit of side draft. It's going to bottle them up. And they'll continue door to door here. DeWale trying to get the advantage through that middle lane. Looks like he's going to be able to have it that time. And he will re-control P2. Drew Williams trying to carry that momentum into P3. A lot of cars all jumping to the high side here. You see Lucas Moody, Nanny's Ball State teammate, lurking in the wings as well. And Nanny going to slide up into the mix there, stopping the bleeding at P4. But the top 7 have got single filed out incredibly quickly here, as we are going to make our way to 13 laps to go this time by.
Now, pretty much these top 4 have all figured it out, and now after that, everyone's just battling it out too wide. It seems like a stack up of cars here. As you see Lucas Moody, Braden Schollenberger, oh so close coming out of turn 2. Battling it out, Schollenberger pulling a little bit of distance down the track and now foul behind Lucas Moody. And now Connor Zabosian, who we haven't seen much of today up here in the top 8 or so, is now battling for 7th along with Reese Bayhem.
Yeah, talk about a couple of guys who have been big movers today. Lucas Moody up from 19th to 5th, and Connor Zabosian up from 23rd to 7th. They've been made some big movers over the course of this one, and could potentially get a couple more positions before this one's said and done. They aren't the biggest movers, but they're on the table. The biggest mover, of course, being the 111 Wheat Indicator, who's gone from 36th to 15th here today. Coming to the line, it's going to be 11 laps to go. Jake Cummings holding on to about a 1-car length advantage over Zach DeWale. DeWale does not have that kind of advantage, though, over Drew Williams, who was on his back bumper down the front straightaway. Daniel Nanny, who has led the most laps here today and is the pole sitter, he currently runs in P4. Got to imagine he's just trying to bide his time before he tries to go in full attack mode. But the question is, who else in the top 5 and the top 10 is doing that exact same thing? Who's going for it? Oh, big wreck on the front straightaway. Trey Lamprecht around. So is Caleb Winslow. Clint Halterman caught up as well. The 007 was going to try the strategy call to get those fresh tires and put them back in the field. And I guess that play did not work out for the UNC Charlotte driver and this year's Atlanta winner.
And this caution is going to send us, I believe, to about 7 or so to go. So these guys are you're gonna probably see a hectic restart. But let's go back to the caution real quick, because he's right here with Clint Haltman right in front of Jason Wallet, Matthew Norberg coming through 3 and 4. Really no one in front, but you can see, I believe, I thought I started in front of them, but looks like it is clear this time round. And we'll take it all the way back around to see if this time by. Oh. Well,
looks like that's where it was. You saw Caleb Winslow around, so was the 007.
little before and after action here.
Yeah, the old replay machine really having a tough time at the moment. 007 coming off of 4. Is this where it ends up? Yeah, here it is.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, caught up. Oh, boy, big contact as well for Nordberg, Corbin. But yeah, the 43 of Trey Lamprecht and the 79 of Ben Neller is where this begins. Yeah, you see the 79 right on the back bumper here, the 43. Washes up the track a little bit. 79 goes for it, and the two just make contact.
And it looks like the 43 was able to save it for a moment, but Cade Corbin, obviously coming up with a lot of speed, gets into the back bumper, and then it's just a domino effect, as you could see. East Carolina, Clint Halterman, North Carolina State, Nordberg, and Jason Wallet all get collected in all of this. And really, I mean, once we saw a couple of those guys up towards the front in this first half of this race, and ending up at the back of the field, you're obviously taking that risk, but at the same time, I mean, these guys just fell to unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we have a moment, I do feel remiss if we didn't shout out maybe the coolest new thing happening in the CIL right now, and that is the new Collegiate iRacing League website. Looking for the ultimate hub for Collegiate iRacing League action? Look no further than the new website, collegiateiRacingLeague.com. From up-to-date standings and race results to the full season schedule, breaking news, and photos, it is your ultimate hub for all things CIL. Whether you're a driver, fan, or just enjoy some good old sim racing, you should head over to collegiateiRacingLeague.com today. Also, information on how to join the Collegiate iRacing League. If that is something that piques your interest, we would love to have you. Big shout out to producer Christian and the whole admin team for help putting that one together. Lights are off on the pace car. Jake Cummings, Zach DeWale, your front row. It's going to be the 100 of Drew Williams along with Daniel Nanny behind him. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing here at Vegas. Only a couple laps to settle this one. Who is going to be the winner here in round 9?
Daniel Nanny is absolutely on the back bumper of Zachary DeWale coming through 1 and 2. That car is definitely not still on the back bumper. These guys are pretty much glued together. You see they storm past Drew Williams, and now Brandon Schollenberger is going to try and challenge for that 4th place. For the time being, the top 3 are single file, but Brandon Schollenberger is now rocketing to the outside as Daniel Nanny looks to the inside of Zachary DeWale.
Going on to 6 laps to go here. Jake Cummings trying to get away from Nanny and DeWale. A great move, though, from the 30. Powers him around the 519 and the pole sitter. Back into P2 in the closing laps. A car length, the only separation between the race leader, Jake Cummings, and the challenger, Daniel Nanny. Gonna get stacked up here, front to back. Side by side, just behind Drew Williams, Lucas Moody. That's the battle for 5th as they're door-to-door. New fastest lap of the race, I believe, for the 30 of Daniel Nanny. If we hit 5 laps to go, and boy, oh boy, I mean, you just look at that, and the 30's there. It's just a matter of when does he make his move. Maybe right now as he looks to the inside.
Ooh, oh, contact for the leaders. Jake Cummings gets to the outside wall, and now he loses his, well, he's able to keep it. Nanny's actually the biggest loser here of that exchange, and now DeWale's able to get by for second. Well, for the time being, Nanny's going to control that outside line and able to stay alongside the 519. It looked like potentially Cummings might have pinched Nanny up into the wall, but I didn't see that. I don't know.
It entirely is possible. I would have to go back to see the replay. Looks like Nanny's gotten back up to 2nd here. Schollenberger's 3rd, gets right to the back bumper. Lucas Moody trying to shoot the gap through the middle. He's got Drew Williams there to try to push him on through. And the 13 with 3 laps to go is up to 2nd. 3 wide now. Nanny, Williams, here comes Sabosian on the inside.
Schollenberger is trying to get Nanny going, and Nanny, I think, might have some residual damage, obviously, with that. I thought Cade Corbett was on the track for a second and scared me, but now we're 4 wide for 5th. Oh, big crash.
They're all around. Williams, Nanny, Schollenberger all into the wall. The yellow flag is going to fly.
Is it? Oh, okay.
The yellow flag is out. And that is going to set us up for overtime. They're going to have one attempt at a green-white checkered, and half of the contenders just got taken out of the stripe.
Ooh.
That's devastating for the driver of the 7. He was having such a good run. I mean, not to just count about him. I mean, the 100 of Drew Williams, the 30 of Daniel Nanny. I mean, a lot of incredibly fast race cars got torn up right at the tail end of this one.
And I mean, I don't know if 4 wide can work here. Obviously, it didn't seem to work there, but when the pressure's on, obviously people are trying to make every move they can, and you can see here, I mean, we were watching it live, all the calamity unfold. Brandon Schollenberger to the outside of Drew Williams, Connor Zabosian, the 4 wide starting the form there. As you can see, Nanny gets so close to Drew Williams there, but Schollenberger keeps it to the outside of Nanny, keeping it 3 wide. And the 34 of Logan Smith is going to come in here and make it 4 wide. And I think Drew might have pushed them all up into this whole mess potentially. Yeah, I think Drew might have not left enough room for 2 cars above him. You see Roos Bayhem, Muhammad Alif right behind this, get a little bit of damage. You can see also Brandon Schollenberger, unfortunately, has to send it down the field and is going to hit the 111. Ethan Decatur, the Valparaiso machine, gets tagged in this as well.
Yeah, and one thing that's worth knowing, Daniel Nanny was only back here because of that contact that we were talking about a second ago with him and Jake Cummings. I took a look here at my end. It looks like when that incident that we saw that got the 30 shaken up in the first place was the 95 clipped the wall off the 4. You were correct in your call there, Brad, that it was Cummings who hit the wall, but he came back down and clipped the 30, which got him out of sorts, cost him some momentum. And that's how the 30 got stuck back into that 3-4 wide battle a lap later. As we're on board here with Andrew Burrell. And yeah, you see the smoke and you just start diving down to the inside, hoping to avoid it. Gets past the first wave, and then you see Schollenberger coming back up the track, and yeah, can't help that one. And oh, he almost flipped.
Man, oh man. I've seen a lot of cars just randomly get on 2 wheels, I think, throughout a lot of these races here in the CIL this season. And I mean, when you're looking at all this calamity happening above, I mean, or in front of you, you can't do much. And Burrell had the right line. It's just the timing was off, and just unfortunately he gets sent up into that outside wall. And a lot of great cars getting out in this one.
Well, that's going to really shake up the front of the field. Jake Cummings is going to restart alongside Lucas Moody. Zach DeWale alongside Connor Zabosian, and then the new 3rd row, Logan Smith, Kelton Quick, Keegan Kallick, Reese Bayham, Muhammad Alif, Ben Neller, your top 10. An opportunity for several drivers to try to end the streak since their last victory. A couple of drivers looking for their first ever, if they can get it done here tonight. They're in prime position. This will be the only attempt, though, at the green-white checkered. So once they take the green, the next flag between the checkered or the yellow will end the race. Pace car going to make its way down pit road for the final time today. Cummings and Moody going to make their way to the restart zone. Green flags in the air. Racing at Vegas, a great launch for the 95, and DeWale's going to follow through in the second. This is the green-white checker presented to you by the McConey Setup Shop. Just in case we don't get there, this is your home for setups, paint schemes, coaching, and more. Cummings going to lead them off the corner here, down the back straightaway.
And honestly, a lot of single-file racing here, but I think Zachary DeWale's trying to do everything he can, looking a little bit to the outside of Jake Cummings, but as you can see, hard to the outside wall, Kelton quick. But everyone stays straight. We keep it moving. As you see, everyone is trying to see what they can do, and it looks like really single foul until you get about to fifth, but now it looks to like Lucas Moody to the inside, Zachary to Whale for second.
Here we go down the back straightaway for the final time. Jake Cummings trying to play the lanes. He's down to the inside, back up high. Here comes Moody looking on the Whale for second. They're all going to maybe go 3 wide for P2, but it's not going to be enough. And Jake Cummings is going to pick up his first victory of Season 12, winning in Las Vegas as they wreck across the line. The Converse University machine picking up win number 1 on the season. Zach DeWale, Lucas Moody gonna be your podium finishers, second and third, separated only by 0.03 of a second. We saw quite the wreck there sliding across the line, but importantly for them, they all had slid across the line before they really wrecked.
And with this one, I mean, Jake Cummings has really made the point standings a 2-car battle for the time being. He's going to be awfully close to Daniel Nenny when it's all said and done here, but obviously great points day for the Converse machine and a huge, huge win in the back half of this season for the 95.
Daniel Nenny was able to rebound back into the top 20, but still not the day he was hoping for after he had such a strong run going. So Jake Cummings picks up his victory. And with that, we are going to step aside for a brief commercial break. When we come back, it will be interviews with your podium finishers and tonight's final results here from Las Vegas. We'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Makoni.
With the launch of Makoni Entertainment and Makoni Competizone alongside Makoni Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MakoniSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Makoni Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello, my name's Aaron Brown from the Garage Shop in Denver, North Carolina. We're here at the famous Bonneville Speedway in Wendover, Utah. One of the most harshest environments on the planet to race in, and that's why we need the best tools Snap-on has to offer. What we use here to pump up the oil in our race engines to prime them is this Snap-on screw gun. With its variable speed and high torque, this allows us to spin our oil pumps up to 1,500 RPMs, creating 70 pounds oil pressure, which helps us get everything settled in, nice and happy, and turn the hot oil through the engine. Compact, lightweight, and able to fit in really tight spaces. Its 9-position clutch allows us to torque things, nuts, bolts, from 8-inch to 50-inch pounds. Small size and high performance helps us get into many places on a race car where normal tools can't. Under the dash and the engine compartment, we also use this to drill a lot of holes in very tight spots.
And we are back, folks, here after a thrilling finish to this race here from Las Vegas. An all-timer in the Esports in-state tuition 200, presented by Texas A&M Texarkana Esports. Joining us now, up in the booth, is tonight's race winner, driver of the number 95 from Converse University, Jake Cummings. Jake, you got a copy?
Yep. I was just about to use the bathroom, but I'm back.
Okay. Well, we can always send you back if you need a minute. We can bring you in later.
No, we're here.
All right. We'll do a speed run then. Jake,
No.
Congrats on race number 1, or win number 1 on the season. You've been incredibly consistent up toward the front of the field all season long. Tonight, though, we're able to close it out in the closing laps there. Talk to us about particularly the last stint. I mean, you were running basically second or third most of this race, and then what did it take to make that jump up to P1 with about 17 to go?
Yeah. So the setup was kind of weird. I honestly thought it was going to be like last season's, and it was entirely different. It was a lot of on throttle time. You could flat out 1 and 2 the first third of your stint. It would kill your tires, but you could. So yeah, I mean, we qualified pretty well, and then we got up to the top like 3 or 4 really early, and it was really just about protecting that outside. And I didn't really want to be in the lead because it didn't seem like you could get away. I think Daniel maybe started getting away at one point, but we never got a long enough run for the tires to really come in like that. So yeah, they were really awkwardly timed every single caution. So I didn't really want to put myself in a position where I'd need to be burning my tires out because, man, I was checking my tires at the end there because I was having to push like crazy. If you're in the front and you want any sort of gap to the car behind you, you need to abuse the heck out of your tires. So, yeah, they were way worse than any other run. Unlike the balance of it, the right rear was way worse. So I kind of just knew it'd be best to hang around if you knew you didn't have, if you weren't like the fastest of the group, and Daniel was always in the group, so I was like, if I ever try to pass him, he's just gonna do something to keep it so that make it so that I can't pass him. So there's no point in trying. So I just pushed him every single time, and yeah, then we were getting down to it. I was thinking, well, maybe it's a good time to pass him, to see. I wanted to get a bonus point at least for leading a lap. That's always important. But yeah, I got to his outside, and I just pushed like crazy to clear him, and then I didn't quite get to the apex at one point in turn 3, and I knew I was going into the wall, but I didn't want to lift because then he'd definitely have the lead. And I don't think he knew I was going into the wall, so when I went into the wall, he just kind of, well, I mean, he must have massacred my left rear, but I didn't have any damage from it, and he definitely did on his front. I felt bad for him for that. I kind of got lucky there because we probably both should have dropped back after that, but then I guess he got spun or something. But yeah, so I mean, he was the car to beat today, even if he wasn't in the lead every single time. He was saving his tires, and he'd get back to the lead eventually. So I mean, with him out of contention, it made things a little easier. Zach was like that second guy in line all the time. It was either me or Zach running second there. So I just knew on those restarts I wanted them to be side by side as much as possible because I was destroying my tires to keep any sort of gap. If we had to do any kind of longer run on those tires, it wasn't gonna be good. But yeah, it was fun. I was starting to honestly feel a little. I love being in this series, but it was starting to get a little repetitive without the playoffs. I think Christian mentioned that actually a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh man, there's still so many races left, and like like all the results are really good, but like nothing's really happening. So the win really helps a lot to boost that confidence to see where we can go from here for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be a big one for you in the points, but then also just I'm sure in the headspace of getting back in victory lane for the first time this year. Jake, talk to us real quick just about that green-white checkered. Obviously, you had a couple of new faces around you, but you still had the 519 who was, as prevalent as ever from the battling that you guys have been doing for P2 a good bit of the day. Was there any concern on the run that he was going to get in that final couple laps?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, the 2 restarts before the green-white checkered that I was the control car, I was going pretty early in the box, and Zach was definitely anticipating that on the last one. He was basically pushing me, and I just had to nope, we're not going yet, not going yet. I needed just to go sometime else, otherwise he was going to get a really clear jump on Lucas, and I think he still did, but then Lucas stuffed it into his inside, on the last lap in the turn one. So that helped a lot. Yeah, it really is like the slipstream, the draft, when you don't have anyone in front of you is insane. They can come from 5 car lengths back, and you have a perfectly fine run out of 2, and it is crazy what they could do. So you couldn't. I wanted to late arc turn 3 and 4, but you just couldn't because they'd just be able to stuff it up your inside, and that nearly happened a couple times. Maybe it did a couple times. I don't know, but yeah, I was a little worried about that, but I was mostly just having a really calm, just enjoy the race approach to this series, and honestly, like this race, and honestly this season. So yeah, it wasn't the nerves weren't too high. I mean, it was just make no mistakes and enjoy yourself. And I was wondering, like, am I actually going to win this season? Because Daniel's doing so well, and yeah, but I mean, we got it. We got. I don't know if we'll get any more, but really happy for the one I got. We've always run pretty well here, so yeah.
Alrighty. Well, you certainly did get the one, and it's a big one for you at this point in the season, points-wise, as it's shaping up. But Jake, anyone you'd like to shout out here tonight on the victory from Vegas?
Yeah, shout out that doctor from the Minute Clinic I went to last week. I had COVID from Tuesday to Saturday. I'm still not like quite 100%, but I'm definitely feeling better than I was mid last week. Shout out to her for getting me my sick note so I could still get paid. Shout out to my fiance who's on the stream. I think Ben Fiore is actually watching on the stream as well, who's on the Formula side, really active on there. Thanks to you guys, of course. Thanks to Christian for launching that dope website. I was looking through it all today. Got to add to that gallery though. I took some nice pics for you. Um, um, but yeah, and thanks to Converse Esports and Tech Sport Academy. Going to be starting in the it's really like GR Cup Esports League on Saturday, so that's really exciting too with them. But yeah, just thanks to everyone who makes this possible. Really enjoyed it. It was a bit. It was, they were like, it was weird. I always was expected a long run, and we never really got it. So I'm getting spoiled with how clean it's been. Where when we get the occasional yellow, I'm like, wait, really? I kind of forget it can happen. But yeah, thank you guys. Hope you guys have a fantastic night.
You as well, Jake. Congrats on the win. We will see you next week at Iowa.
Yeah.
And that was race winner Jake Cummings in the 95 machine from Converse University, picking up the win by just about 0.3 of a second over second place finisher Zach DeWale, who's standing by with Brad now.
And I'm joined now here with Zach DeWale. Zach, do you have a copy?
Loud and clear.
Alrighty. Well, Zach, we saw you have pretty much a dogfight throughout the entirety of the race, within the top 4, it seemed like. And can you take us, you had a lot of great pace as well in the short runs, and it seemed like we didn't really have a lofty green flag run. Can you kind of take us through how the car felt to you, especially on those fresher tires?
On fresh tires, I think we definitely had the car to beat. I could get to the front really easily, but it's hard to say if that was just because the other guys were that much faster than me, or that much better at saving tires than I was. But once we got to the lead, I felt like I could pull away pretty well. I just couldn't hold on to the tires in the long run, like the other guys were able to when I was in the lead. But I found like when I was trailing, I could stick with them very well. But being out front and clean air, I couldn't quite figure out how how to keep the tires under me but still keep the pace. But yeah.
And then, we've kind of been spoiled with green flag runs in the past weeks here, but I mean, here in Vegas, it seemed like we had the typical CIL late race caution. Can you take us into your mindset and take us through those last laps for you?
Yeah, honestly, I was kind of coming into today expecting the caution fest because, like you said, we've had a few pretty good weeks of really good like green flag racing in the league. So I figured it was about time that we get it. And of all places, of course, it's going to be Vegas. Just because of the way this place races, it's really fast. It's kind of narrow on corner exit, especially off 4. And with how tight the car was, I knew we'd be running into some problems off 4. But yeah, going into the late cautions is just I knew that pitting wasn't gonna be really on the table because we didn't have many laps on the tires. So I knew I was staying out, so it took that variable out of my head, and I could just focus on trying to get good restarts and try and get to Jake's inside or whatever I could do to get beside him, and it just didn't quite work out. But yeah.
And then, I mean, a second place finish is pretty good, but going into Iowa, how are you feeling about Iowa? Do you think you can get that first win of the season, or how are we feeling?
I feel pretty good about Iowa. Iowa's one of my my better tracks on the schedule, on service really. One I feel a lot more confident at than most. I haven't done any laps yet for on our setup, but it'll be fun. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Iowa's a really fun track. I think it races really well. I think we ran it last season. I think I did pretty good there. So just got to keep it clean and run a smart race and stay out of trouble, and hopefully we can come home with another podium and try and gain some points back from the last couple weeks.
And then before we let you go here, Zach, do you have anyone you'd like to shout out?
Yeah, of course. Hannah, of course. Emily, Riley, Jordan, if you're watching at home, all the guys at OWR, and yeah, it was a really fun race. We'll come back at Iowa and see what we can do.
All right, that's what we like to hear, Zach. Well, have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you here next Monday for Iowa.
Thanks, Brad. Have a good one.
You as well. We're going to send it back up to the booth with Alex, who's with our third place finisher, Lucas Moody.
Yep. Hey there. This is Alex and Brad up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do. Thank you. My celebration music has played as I enter the booth, which is always good to hear.
It's always a good sign when Weezer enters the building. Lucas, congrats on the run today, man. I mean, big mover up from, I want to say, back near 20th to start this one up to the podium.
Yeah, 19th.
Yeah, what was that run like today, working your way through traffic? It seemed like it wasn't any crazy moves, but it looked like you just kept steadily getting closer and closer to the front as the day went on.
Yeah, so Alif and I's plan going into the race was just to, make sure we save our tires. 1 and 2 tended to use our rears more. 3 and 4 tended to use the fronts more. So the plan was just to simply make sure that you're not over pushing your rears in 1, 2. Make sure you're late apexing 3 and 4 to not over push your fronts. And, we were just holding back 19th and 18th. We were running for a long, long time. We were just holding back, saving our tires, letting the cautions go through. And then once we said, okay, we can go now, they've burnt their tires out. We started making up spots. We made up like 5 before the first caution. And then that next series of runs right before the 9 car got tangled with the 124, that was when I started making my moves. That's when I kind of said, okay, I've saved for like 20 laps. I got to go now. So essentially what I did is just off the caution right before the 9 and 124, I started sending it 3 wide. I was able to find really good traction around the outside of 1 and 2. So there were just times I could drive by the 100. I just drove by the 7. I purely just had better traction because I'd been in 5th gear most of the race, so my rears were better. Just able to drive through all of them. 76 was holding me up a little bit. I was getting attacked from behind by the 334. But once I was able to get past 76, got clean air. The gap to 4th place ahead was like 2 seconds. And then, of course, the incident with the lapped car and the 124. But no, my plan was just to slowly make my way through the field, not burning tires. And I did it well. The only unfortunate part of the race was that caution at the very end because I was second. I had a good gap behind. I knew I had saved tires better than Jake, who was only half a second ahead. I was pushing. I was going to get him, and then they go 4 wide behind me. And we get the caution. I mess up the restart, and I finished third. Another win that could have been, but what you gonna do?
Another win that could have been indeed, but still a phenomenal drive from you today to get up from 19th to third.
Mhm.
I do want to ask. I want to ask you a little bit. When you got up in the P2 just before that caution came out, you shot the gap through the middle there, going 3 wide.
Oh, yeah.
That must have been a pretty electric feeling to just dive it in through the middle and split, the podium cars in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd kind of been doing it all race just because I'd been staying in 5th, which allows me to save my rears better, and it gives me way more confidence, especially in 1 and 2. So I think I just took it flat. Maybe a little bit of a lift. I'll have to watch it back. But I knew that, they're going to lift. They have to. They've hurt their fronts a little bit more than I have, and they're in 4th gear, so they're not going to be able to do it without losing their car. So I just said, I know what I have to do. I'm going to do it. Shot the gap. Jake was in front of me. I'm like, okay, let's go. Get him. And then the caution came out. I screamed my head off. If you watch my Twitch stream, @lucky_racing, quick little plug, you could hear me yelling out of anger just because the win was there. It was right there. I had 2 laps and I was going to do it. And it's just,
tough break indeed, but a really, really good run for you here today, Lucas. But it could have been even more, but if nothing else, a great points day for you. And I have to I guess at this point, anyone you want to shout out here tonight to celebrate the podium finish, that, if nothing else, I mean, you got to give yourself some credit. You went plus 16 on the day. That's not easy.
Yeah, of course. Got to shout out my mom, my dad, my younger brother, Andrew. My mom's actually in Paris right now, so good stuff from her. She'll be watching it later. She's not watching it live today, unfortunately. So sorry if you missed out on her funny comments in chat. Got to shout out my teammates. Of course, driving with me tonight was Alif, Kelton, Daniel, Ben, and Nick. Of course, got to shout out the guys on the FC side. Shout out the guys on the Vortex side. Have to shout out my Overwatch team, the moms as well. Of course, BK and Dan, who are the directors of this program. And shout out Jake for the great win and Zach for the P2.
All right, Lucas.
Oh, and Daniel, my sports consultant. Daniel, my sports consultant. Nearly, I got
it in just under the wire. Lucas, thank you so much for dropping by. Appreciate the interview. Congrats on the podium. And when you leave, does it also Weezer its way out or
unfortunately does not. I can set it up.
Well, maybe something for next time then. Lucas Moody, congrats
guys.
on the podium finish. We'll talk to you next week in Iowa.
Cool, thank you.
All right, and that is 3rd place finisher Lucas Moody. The 13 machine getting it done, going plus 16 on the day. And that'll bring us to tonight's final results from Las Vegas. Jake Cummings, your winner here today for Converse University, just ahead of Zach DeWale, Lucas Moody, and a great P4 run today for Connor Sabosian with Kettering, going from 23rd to 4th. Logan Smith will finish 5th for Auburn, Keegan Calix 6th for St. Clair College. Reese Bayham, 7th tonight, just ahead of R. Muhammad Ali from Ball State, Jared Kaler from UNC Charlotte, and Esteban Munoz with the top 10 for FIU.
In 11th, we have Nick Henley from Ball State and his teammate Kelton Quick from Ball State. In 13th, we have Jason Wallet from Drexel University, and Ball State also making an appearance in 14th at the 79 machine of Ben Neller. In 15th, we have Nolan Starkey from Trine University, able to rebound sufficiently after that late race caution, along with Zach Tallman from Penn College of Technology and Trey Lambrecht from Texas A&M University San Antonio. Carter Capini finishes 18th from Paul Smith College, and Clint Halterman from UNC Charlotte finishes 19th, and rounding out your top 20, Daniel Nanny from Ball State.
21st here tonight will be Drew Williams from Clemson, just ahead of Michael James from Drexel. ECU's Caleb Winslow, 23rd. Toledo's Nathaniel Crone, 24th. And Ethan Decatur from Valparaiso, the last car on the lead lap, in 25th. All the cars now 1 or more laps down here tonight. Cade Corbin, Nicholas Stockner, Brandon Schulenberger, 26th through 8th, just ahead of Andrew Burrell and Jack Wilson, rounding out the top 30.
And rounding out your field tonight, we have Matthew Norberg finishing 31st from North Carolina State University. Riley Birkins from New England College finishes 32nd. 33rd, Roger Primo from Paul Smith's College. Andrew McManus from the University of Toledo finishes 34th. Robbie Hotchkiss from New England Colleges finished 35th. Edward Sanchez finishes 36th from Baruch. Alex Hallenar from Binghamton finishes 37th. Grant Schiller from St. Clair finishes 38th. And our producer, Christian Bryant Hill, is finishing 39th.
Well, with that is going to be just about wrapping up our coverage here tonight from Las Vegas. Before we go, Brad, any final thoughts from this one?
I mean, Vegas did not disappoint, and I think that's why we've seen it a lot here in the prior years, and I think a lot in the future. But, with this little gauntlet of the back half of this season coming into Iowa, I think we got a lot of unknowns coming into Iowa, and I'm excited to see what happens, and maybe a lot of shifting up towards the front here with all these unknowns.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that happening. But speaking of next week, that'll be a bit of an unknown. That's a track we don't get to go to too often. Next week, we're going to Iowa Speedway. It'll be only the second time the Garage Shop College Cup Series has ever raced there. That'll be next week, March 24th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That'll be the start of the pre-show. You won't want to miss that one from Iowa. A little bit of short track action. Tempers sure to flare. However, if you don't have time to wait a week before your next CIL action, 2 days from now, we are going to the Formula College Series at Road Atlanta. That is one a lot of the teams have circled on the calendar. A lot of Road Atlanta fans here in the CIL. And then, and producer Christian Hill will be behind the wheel in the FC machine. So he was on the scoreboard tonight, but if you want to see him actually out on the track, you're going to have to watch the FC race this Wednesday. That'll be at 8:45 Eastern. That is 2 days from now, March 19th. Of course, all times in EST. And one more, I believe, to talk about here. Yep, the Collegiate Sports Car Challenge has their third race of the season. The Grand Prix, or not Grand Prix, I guess it'd be the endurance race at Sebring. Should be a fantastic event there. Sebring, such a fun track to do endurance racing on. And that one will be kicking off this Thursday, 8:45 Eastern. It is March 20th for race 3 of the Collegiate Sports Car Challenge. Should be an absolute blast, and definitely a longer one if you want to tune in and just kind of hang out with everyone who's broadcasting that one. It's a great group of folks broadcasting that Thursday one and the Wednesday one. They arguably they have a ton of fun as well, and it's just always something different. Brad and I, we've been doing this for a minute, but every week over there on the FC side or the Collegiate Sports Car side, you might get somebody new, Or it could be the esteemed panel, as it is known, where it's just a revolving series of guests on those ones, but I digress. But for everyone here at the CIL, I want to thank you all so much for tuning into tonight's race from Las Vegas. We had an absolute blast bringing this one to you. I hope you all had a good time as well. For all the admins and stewards, all the volunteers who helped make this thing possible. Producer Christian Hill with my co-commentator Brad Daniels. I've been Alex Gagnon saying thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you at the latest next week at Iowa, but I hope you tune in to either FC or the CSC race this week as well. Have a good one, folks.